Alrighty. Hi, everyone. My name is Bruce Lombardo, and tonight with me is my good friend Khy from Khy's Musings, a spot on my new Gilded server, which I'm not going to share with everybody, but for those of you that are out there, there's links. Okay, so Khy, aside from long diatribes, man, children, running things, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Glad to hear that. Did you get any gaming in this week? Probably not, but did you try even computer gaming?
Um, Mostly played a bit of BattleTech. I I ran some ideas past people, bounced ideas mostly. I don't want to say it was running a game, but it was more just engaging in the fun of writing, uh, doing scenes. Setting up scenes and ideas for like what would be fun, like more systemless work. I more like less gaming, more collaborative storytelling. So I a lot of just creative fun is what it really mostly comes down to.
Okay, I'd like to say hello to the few people we got watching us. Crafting Gamer, Six Nation 31 Kings. Hey, how are you doing tonight? I bought some Reaper figs this week, and
Woo!
yeah, I bought a chunk load of them. But the ones I'm showcasing here are the ones that I can't wait to start on these. But I gotta finish this first. You know that feeling like I want to do this. I have to finish this first.
But yeah, you've been working on that for a while now.
Yeah, my friend Jill told me that, and I said, "Oh." When a non-gamer says that to a gamer, you're like, "Oh boy."
Well, you did start a very big project. I mean, right now I've got two more models that I've got to work. That I'm laughing to myself, going, I'm never going to get to these models. That they're just now sitting here waiting for me to work on them.
Yeah. Well, tonight I'm going to do one more big step in getting this one finished, and that will include me doing the final bits of wings down here in the bottom by the where the bone protrudes out of the skin, and then I'm going to try to varnish this, and then we're going to flip the fucker over, and that'll be the last bit of this. While we talk about various other things going on, because I'm sorry, chat, for those of you that were wanting to hear Chimerian discuss and voice his thoughts about the current political situation in America. That isn't even available at my $10 tier. I'm sorry, Flighty, but I I don't think you guys. I don't think a lot of people would really want to hear that. I mean, a lot of us already have our own thoughts. We don't need to like. We're pretty much pretty. If we're not on the same page, we're parallel pages.
Yeah,
So
we don't need more of it.
yeah.
Honestly, if you want that kind of discussion, you can turn on any channel anywhere right
Any
now.
yeah, especially if you go to Reddit, I would recommend if you don't like the way things are in America right now, just go to Reddit. Reddit, for some odd reason, gigantic, absolutely the hugest, largest echo chamber I've ever seen.
I I traveled in a lot of circles, and boy, there's a lot of echo chambers. They're fun to walk through, though.
Yeah. That one there. Just be careful because like they throw concrete sometimes.
Oh yeah,
But man, that was that was an eye opening experience. Just going on Reddit and reading all that stuff. I'm like, wow, these guys are kind of out of their fucking mind. But okay,
Yeet.
whatever. And they have a right to be out of their mind. They can do that. It's not illegal to be out of your fucking mind yet.
No, it's not.
Not yet. We said yet. Remember that. Um, are you aside from like quote unquote lack of gaming, what else are you endeavoring on? Are you getting prep done for your next campaign?
In a way, yes, because I'm kind of working through the idea of just cleaning up everything because I've came to the realization that when I get around to gaming again, it's going to be with almost entirely new people. So it's going to be starting over from ground zero. So as far as anyone's concerned, anything I do, there's no continuity because they don't know anything that happened in the past. There's no I can actually just start clean slate almost.
Yeah,
Anything I do now, I can just there's nobody to scream, wait, that but before it said this, and now I can go, well, yeah, you're right. And this has been kind of a fun moment of being able to sit back and just go, wait, so I can clean up all the bad mistakes and nobody will ever know. And I mean, I toss around one thing I found out this is that the Gilded app does not save what you've written if you close the program.
in mid sentence, no, they do not.
Right.
I
So
found that out myself.
yeah. So on the Discord on my phone, I can spend 3 or 4 days writing a post and come back to it, at lunch, come back to it, you know, between, at various points of the day and write that, keep editing things and working things together. And suddenly, I could post something. Gilded, I have to do it all in one vomit. Here's here's my thought. And if I have to close my phone for any reason and come back later, if I had actually closed the apps entirely, because I'm like, well, okay, just close apps. Oops, you just lost an hour of work. Um, and I'm like, fuck, because I had a really okay. Because one of the things I was working on, I had a follow up actually to that sci-fi thing I was writing that I posted
Yeah,
last week.
I remember this.
Yeah, because the thing is that sci-fi that's a sci-fi study I've been working on because, and I realized that the scope of the story that story would tell, like that setting would tell, is on the level of, say, trying to explain like Larry Niven's Ring World series the the Culture series or Lensman or some other, you're not dealing with a set like that's a setting that I was detailing out there for that little itty bitty nation in a big galaxy. Because like in my head, there's a lot more
Yep.
that I have not written down there that I've got in my head. Because like I hinted at the idea of of a big vast trading network that ran up and down one of the spines of an arm of one of the galactic arms, and I'm going, wait, this is starting to sound like upper end traveler levels of stuff. The idea, because it was an interesting idea, but the thing is that you're dealing with a stellar state that's isolated, isolationist, powerful, rich, and has the ability to do mega structures. And because sci-fi doesn't really do mega structures very well. You just don't see it. Like the biggest things we see in most sci-fi will occasionally be, say, somebody will like whip out a Dyson sphere, but then because like Star Trek Next Generation had the Dyson sphere episode, but the thing was they I almost wanted to scream like that Dyson sphere doesn't work. It's not really like because but it was a plot device that was forgotten about, and nobody ever talked about it again. And like, so Trek doesn't do big very well because it's you're in a little itty bitty spaceship, you're flying around an itty bitty spaceship land, and then you get like the Halo ring worlds every once in a while, and like the Death Star is another mega structure, kinda. It, I, I like what somebody actually referred to like the Death Star as being like a kilo structure. It's not a mega, it's kilo. It's a kilo structure. It's big, but not big. And suddenly I'm like detailing, no, this is a culture that is your TL 16, 17, 18, in traveler terms, nation. And like it's a stellar entity that is just big. And it's like, and I was like, how do I describe? Because like in my head it works. In my head, I have the star charts all mapped out. How the planetary, how the jump gates work. How FTL functions and how there's multiple ways of getting in there, and how there's not like there's a society, like there's an entire civilization chunked here in like these 9 systems. And but the thing is that it's 9 systems in a galaxy that's not small. Because that's the one thing I hate about Trek and Star Wars is that the galaxy is small. I mean, it looks big, it's drawn big, the galaxy looks huge, but Star Wars has the speed of plot.
Mm-hmm.
You can travel anywhere you want as fast as the story needs you to travel. And Trek is the same way, where 5 ships are, a fleet of 10 ships is enough to blockade the entire border between Romulus and the Vulcan homeworld. That's not, wait, what? Okay, I guess this works. No, it doesn't. But I'm also somebody who likes to read, say, the Weberverse, and like Weber's works,
Mm-hmm.
and Weber's, David Weber, where fleets of like his earlier books are like here's 12 ships. Then later on, you could tell that he kind of came around to realizing, 25 ships ain't enough. You could throw hundreds or thousands into this battle, and that you'd still have space to float around. But you don't ever see that depicted anywhere. Because and so I'm like, it's just one of those ideas of just trying to like play with the ideas, like what kind of story could you tell with this? Because it and like, well, anyone like, well, there's how many people are there? Like billions, billions and billions and billions of people are living in this one system, and there's 9 of them. Well, that's how do you even comprehend? I'm like, that's because I want a setting where it's like, well, most of the galaxy isn't this place. Well, how is that place so good? Well, think of how most of us play when we play like a strategy game or empire builder. There's 2 terms that come up a lot, and that's like to build tall or to build wide. And I you're following me, right, Bruce?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Right.
right. So for anyone who's listening, tall is just simply you cram as much shit into like 5 into a small spot, and you're amazing. Or you go wide and everybody's garbage, but you have so much of it, you make up for your inefficiency by having so much. And the thing is that no, the ships don't have to be big, but the thing is that like you either go really really big, that's like the culture series or some other idea, or you have a whole lot of it, a whole lot of ships. Trek is in this weird spot where the ships are too small and there's not enough of them. I know I get into fights a lot with Star Trek fans when I go, my favorite setting in Star Trek is Starfleet battles. And they're like, "Oh God, that one." I go, "That one." For as boring as the artwork is, because it's very I cut and paste, original series, and they just evolve the original series designs around. They built fleets. Yeah, so it's like the heavy cruiser. There isn't just simply, you know, the the 12 constitutions, and that's all you fucking know exist. You find out, no, there was 12 in block 1, then there's another 24 in block 2, and you get this idea that no, there was an assembly line, and the idea that there are refits and blocks in manufacturing, and there are improved versions of ships that come out, and they're not just being churned out, monthly, but you have yards that are building them at scale. You have multiple classes that do multiple jobs. And so that while the game is clunky as fuck, and dear God, do not run SFB at squadron level gaming, because don't put a squadron on the board. You there's not enough time in the world to play a full carrier task, a full carrier battle group against another carrier battle group in that game. There is just not enough time in the world, because you have your carrier, you have your escorts, because remember, any CVA, I think any CV or CVA has to come with one new light cruiser escort plus 2 destroyer escorts. Either war destroyer or just escort destroyers. That they all need it, so that right there automatically you have one CV on the board. You have 5 ships that need power allocation plus fighters on board and their munitions and everything else. You're now at way too much shit to do for an SFB game. And I know, because I'm a FedRat carrier player. I got good at knowing how to run FedRat carriers. But I also played Hydrans, who are carrier nuts, and Klingons, who are carrier nuts. Because it's Starry Battles. Carriers are fucking everything in that game. And you learn, but then you find out that, oh wait, one of the people who helped design that game was David Weber, who would go on to create Starfire, which is about carriers. Lots and lots of carriers everywhere. And carriers in that, and Starry Battle and Starfire strips the fuck out of Starry Battles down to the point where it's fast, but the scale of the game gets big, really big. Like some of the battles that you can do in Starfire are multiple star systems simultaneously. Like one of the best scenarios of the Stars at War campaign book is, I think it's like 5 or 6 star systems, and you have one player who has to figure out how he's going to put his defenders across three different systems to plan for the arrival of this overwhelming force. Now, he's got the ability, like the scenario says pretty much, you're going to lose. If you're playing this side, you're going to die. Like there's no winning this. But the scenario is just a good way to try to, how much damage can you inflict to delay the offensive? And so you got to figure out how to plot, while the other guy gets to figure out how he's going to hit. He's got rules too on how he has to assign his offensive force. So he's got to cover all 3 warp points as well, because because it's a war. He wants to make sure that there's no counterattack into his territory. So he has to be able to plot his invasion, your defense, and then it's all happening on an on it, because that game goes from days to hours to minutes in combat scale down to seconds. Yeah, that's so it shrinks down in scale, so you can have ships moving on hourly intercept course through outer systems on an hourly, rate of closure, while you have ships maneuvering at a closer tactical, not quite tactical, but they're more on an intercept course. And then you have ships that are fighting on the tactical level, which are like dogfighting. So it's really weird combat. It's like it's a great. It taught me how to perceive combat as more than just a series of small little skirmishes. The idea that this little skirmish that's happening here is not really the important fight, because there are other assets that are maneuvering around on the next tier out, or the next tier out. So the idea that you could joust, or this little fight that I'm having here isn't everything, because if I fuck up here, well, I can disengage, or I have to engage. Like, and the thing is that game also includes detection range. So there's a certain point where your sensors don't work, so you have no idea they're out there. So everyone's plotting and planning and everything's maneuvering until somebody makes contact, and then suddenly now everyone knows except they don't, because communications travel at the speed of light. And you're like, well, that's fast as fuck. Like, not really. If one task group is 5 light minutes out, you send your warning message, like, I've made contact, come find me, come reinforce me. Well, you gotta, like, that's gonna take 5 minutes for that message to arrive at the other guy, at your friend, for him to be able to start turning to come help you. And so there's this wonderful, like, and like suddenly you're like spatial maneuvering comes into it, communication delays, and it's like, so there's this wonderful feeling that help is 30 light minutes out. Well, that's 30. You only move at 0.2 speed, 0.2 c, only, pretty fast actually, but suddenly that 30 minutes becomes several hours. And most ships' life support can possibly do, your strike fighters might have a life support of maybe 10 hours. So, they can run for, 5-10 light minutes out, like a light hour out, and then strike and come back. But they're at the limit of their life support at that point. And you gotta start figuring out, okay, how do I cycle through this kind of stuff? And it's like, it increased the scale of what space could possibly be, rather than simply being Star Wars, Star Trek. Because I hate Star Trek fans who are like, Star Trek has got great range and all those other things. They go, show me it on screen. Because when you see Trek on screen, they're parked literally, like, you can point. I'm pretty sure somebody could open an airlock with a 45 and start plinking at the D7 across the, it's parked, right in front of you. Somebody with a good M16 could probably hit that space cruiser with how close they are. I mean, when the Galaxy is parking itself, three car lengths away from a Borg cube, dude, you have a range of 25,000 kilometers. Why are you getting within,
we're going to let the Borg have sex with us first. Hold on.
What was that?
We're going to let the Borg have sex with us first.
Right. You just want to make sure that when the Borg break, you got to have time to hit your own stop button before you run into it. You're at a safe following distance. I mean, dear God. And the thing is that when people are like, that's not true, and I'm like, it is true. That's like, Best of Both Worlds is that close, and so is Wrath of Khan is that close. Undiscovered Country is that close. When they're fighting in Nemesis, they're that close. Everybody is so close that, like I said, somebody pulled out their good old fashioned 45 and M1 911 that they've had since Grandpa, because it won 2 world wars, opens an airlock and like starts shooting at the Klingons. You know you're fighting close. Even Discovery put them that fucking close, and I hate Discovery, but Discovery puts them so close that they're just like, drive me closer. I want to hit them with my sword. And like Next Gen did it. Everyone does it because it looks really cool. Star Wars is World War II in space. Everyone's iron sighting those space guns.
Listen, there's a scene in episode 4 where you have a clear fucking repeater that was used in World War I era being carried by the stormtroopers.
Yeah, I know. But no, when your capital ships are literally iron sighting these, like, Age of Sail iron sighting this shit from one cruiser to the next. Yeah, we're playing close range here, but not like. And I understand video games, like, yeah, you want to be able to play really, really close because not everyone wants to play Harpoon or in space, because nobody wants to look at like their own. I'm not gonna say nobody. There's only a very small select group of people who can find enjoyment watching 2 squares on a big blue screen move very slowly at each other until some triangles start showing up. And then all the alarms go off because there's triangles that move quick on screen. And then somebody draws a U on the screen, and then everybody freaks out because there's a submarine now on the on the map. And wait, if we've seen the submarine, something's gone wrong because we've seen the submarine. And there are very few people who, and this is a problem I have when I also, because I'm used to playing old-fashioned Starfleet Battles and Traveler, like not Traveler, but SFB, and I'm used to playing Starfire. I'm used to playing these games where it's on these little itty-bitty chits, these little squares of cardboard with an icon on it. And that's all I need. But everybody has these big, giant models now, these big miniatures. And I'm like, you don't need those. And everyone's like, what do you mean? That miniature is so big that we need a bigger map, a bigger table, or we can just put down more maps and play with small chits. And like, I don't want to play with that. I want to play with this big, giant, pretty model. And I'm like, I don't need that pretty model. I just need to know that there are 6 ships in this hex, and they are within mutual fire support group and range of their point defense guns. That's all I need to know. What's their heading? What's their speed? That's all I need to know. Yes, and asteroid music playing in the background is it. But I also know that there are not many people who want to play that kind of a space game. There are, but there's not. But I think that if more people could perceive the idea, because I don't own the game, but I want to, but I also don't want to because it's a multiplayer game, and I don't have enough friends that play that I would be able to play it with. But it's a 3D space combat game where everybody has their own ship, but that game is got radar ranges, line of sight issues, and missiles and ammunition, like ballistics and missiles all have travel speeds. So you could aim at a ship and then it not be where you're aiming when the bullets arrive finally. Or there's this point where
if you build it, because you can design your own ships in that game, where watching a ship disgorge missiles, lots and lots of missiles, so many missiles, a cloud of them, and then watched it slowly inch towards the enemy, and or if you're the target, just kind of sit there and go, I don't have enough point defense in the universe to save me from what's about to hit. And then having that moment of realizing that you're dead, but you got 45 seconds to think about it. And so you got time to contemplate, how did I get here? How did I fuck up so bad, as you watch this trail of missiles come streaming at you, and you're just sitting here going, fuck. Well, it was good knowing y'all, guys, and then they explode, and then just your team kind of watches and goes, well, shit. Well, luckily luckily the missile boat player just fired everything at that guy, and so it was like this. So it was this weird feeling watching that game being played and watching people, trying their best to use terrain, cover, rocks, valleys, anything they can to break line of sight, to poke and prod around a corner and up to try to like steal a shot, and then kind of just fire their way back into cover, and then watching the bullets streak across the sky. And there's in a way, it's almost has this Expanse Babylon 5 feel to it. Of just watching the rounds just taking their time getting there. Yeah, laser weapons are fantastic because it's FTL. It's like you just point, trigger, pull, and then it fires. But at that point, you watch your armor go, oh, my armor's getting hot. I go somewhere else. I'm not overheating anymore. Shit's not flying off my ship. So bullets are still it was a cool balance. But the thing is, when I'm writing this setting that I was creating, it was I kind of wanted to point out the idea that space is big, it's vast, it's full of possibilities and amazing things that can be done. But the thing is that I wanted to highlight the idea that getting to that point is one thing, staying at that point is even harder, because we're so used to playing most sci-fi games where the idea that once you get to once you achieve tech level 16, you're there. You're never going to backslide. No. But I'm like, no. Because you played Anno, right?
Years ago, yes.
Okay. But the idea that the supply chain, the chain of things that you need to get the really cool stuff gets progressively wider and wider on the bottom. And you got more moving parts that are all inching towards the one thing that is your amazing cool thing that allows you to do everything, and you can only produce 6 of it at a time. So you got to figure out how you're going to ration those 6, and it slowly but surely rambles up towards that. And I'm trying to and I guess because I've now watched enough of the wars in Elite Dangerous and in EVE Online, the 2 persistent universes where there's nobody to save you, shit goes wrong, it goes wrong.
I tell you the game that you probably, if you haven't played it, I think you would really love it.
Yeah?
Free Space 2.
Oh God, I've loved that game in the past. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah,
the X series is also another fantastic one.
The X series. The problem
with those games is that actually they're just great. They're just good games. And those are. I guess what it is that the idea that I'm having is that once I'm good, once I've established myself well, it's hard to backslide because there's no one. In some of the new X games, there is some problems where the computer can attack your supply lines and can hit things, but it's really hard to backslide. Once you've accomplished building the ability to have battleships you're not going to lose the ability to build battleships. You might lose a battleship, but you're not. You might even lose the one that's super rare, but you could still build more. And the idea that I was kind of working with is the idea that, yeah, but how much is required to build that ship? Because when you play like EVE Online, the reason why I like EVE and I like, to a degree, Elite Dangerous a bit less than EVE is that those are massive. That gives you a hint of what a massively multiplayer, just if people who are not just timid AIs are able to function, how they function is. So you think you've got everything you need to build, but people are hitting, if you can't secure your own factories, you can't guard your own mineral fields, you can't do any of this, you suddenly have people who no longer have the ability to build tier 2, tier 3 warships. And the tier 2, tier 3 guns aren't available to arm the few that you have left. So they become rare resources. The people who know how to build them become rarer and rarer, and they become assets into themselves to guard. Well, so they become targets, things that you want to hit, you want to raid, you want to blow up bases that are supply station, supply yards that have multiple factories running, churning out new warships. You want to hit that. You want to blow up the naval reserve yards where people's spare ships are all being stored, so you can knock out their ability to have spare ships. Now, EVE Online has a thing where if you kill somebody, that you get to respawn and you get to continue to keep playing, no problem. But I was thinking more like if I was running an RPG or a story or writing a universe, well, if you start killing the ship designers, killing the engineers, killing the mechanics who know how to build these very, very high-end stuff, there's no one to replace them. That's a theme that comes from BattleTech, is that after a while with the Succession Wars, it's by targeting the engineers, the designers, the scientists, the mechanics in the factories, slowly but surely the grinding of progress stops, and then it starts to go back to easier to make, easier to understand stuff, simpler equipment that you can mass produce still, and then you lose out on the high end shit. And this happens, it happens in that setting, but I can also see that happening in various other parts of of our own world where, hey, that cool thing you bought has no support, out here in rural whatever, but your Nokia works, and people can, or somebody who's still got some parts left over from a Radio Shack can still keep things running, and there's people who know how to just bang together and make it work. Is it as good as the old stuff? No, but it's working and it's doing its job. So the idea that a galaxy that's as brutal as, say, an EVE Online universe, where everyone's out there periodically, because let's be honest, if you suddenly gave the ability to humans to have an entire galaxy and FTL travel, well, they're going to build empires, they're going to get corrupt, they're going to break up, they're going to fight. Suddenly the delicate interconnection and supply chains gets disrupted. There's nobody who has the ability to continue to maintain working on your awesome TL-16 warship. Suddenly you might only be able to run TL-12, TL-11 ships, because that's all you can work on. That's all you have left that runs. And people are okay with that because, well, hey, I have a pile of Mopar parts here, my car still runs. And maybe it's just because of the fact that I'm now working a lot more with supply chains and with new cars, which it's fantastic if we have a great supply chains that are all strong and good internet, good globalist trade networks. But let's be honest, we don't really have good strong supply chains anymore.
I'm not seeing it.
Getting really good car parts out of our cheap chinko sweatshops aren't as reliable as they used to be. And hey, I know you want to keep driving your 2018 Nissan, but I don't have any of the fuel injectors for it anymore because they're not made anymore, and I can't get more. But I'm only driving a 2018 Nissan. I understand, but I can't get you. I can't get you those computer controlled pieces that you need because they're not available anymore. But it's only 8 years old. I know it sucks to be you, but that's the truth about your why I can't keep your Kia running, because I can't find parts for it, and neither can the Kia dealer. Why? Because the Kia dealer just called me asking if I had the parts, and I don't, because I call you for the parts. Oh shit! Our supply chains are fucking breaking up. Now, bring that up to an interstellar scale, where you put in a call, and it might be a week before a jump ship arrives that's carrying your parts. Shit starts to fall apart pretty quick. And I'm like going, yeah, I could see a galaxy where it's a mishmash of not enough parts, where nobody, like, it's all isolated. Like there's some standardization from earlier empires, and things are falling apart. But it's a continuous boom bust cycle of somebody gets their act together. They get enough parts to build enough people who know what they're doing in one spot. It grows. It's successful. It becomes really big. Then they become lazy. Greed happens. It's now too big for one group. It starts collapsing on itself because shit malfunctions, and who knows? And the whole time there's this nice little nation that I've detailed here that goes, we figured out that if we don't get bigger, we don't collapse. Now, does that lead to stagnation? Possibly. But their solution to stagnation was we still sell to the rest of the universe and the rest of the galaxy. Periodically, a big cargo ship drives by, and people come in and trade with us. So we don't lock the door and say no to the entire universe. We become the flea market of the universe. Everyone comes to us, and so we stay vibrant because we're trading with everybody, and we're merchantly connected. Well, what if somebody comes into? We have a very big stick to beat you if you come in. Just follow that, because you remember the old West End Games Platt Spaceport Guide, right?
Platt Spaceport Guide was probably the best campaign starter, the best campaign keeper I've ever seen.
God, it's amazing.
Remember the one space station where you had to sign off if you left your ship there for more than 30 days, they would confiscate it and everything in it. And then, like, here comes the stormtroopers to arrest you and make you disappear for like years.
Oh yeah, I love that one. I also loved Starforge Station, which was a shipyard that moved in a nebula.
Yep.
That could build you anything if you had the money.
Yeah, you had to have money for that one.
Yeah, it's like if you had the money, they'll build you a Corellian Corvette or a Nebulon B frigate, and they'll build it for you. It'll be a knockoff. It'll be a good knockoff, and it's being hunted for by the Empire because, like, now, mind you, I stole a little bit of the idea for the Dominion from Starport Station. I'm from Starforge Station. The idea that, no, if you got the cash, we'll build you a copy of whatever you want. And I also stole the Kuat Drive Yards entry for like the front door to the Dominion. The idea that, no, if you want to come in, you got to stop at an outer system where they go, okay, cool, you're clear, and then let you in. and then you could trade and do whatever you want, but you gotta stay in the buoys. That's all you gotta do. Like, just don't go. Just don't leave the buoys. You're fine. I want you in the like. So I used that book as the idea, and I also like the idea that what would because I was listening to a guy who was who's a gunsmith discussing what the impending the additive manufacturing processes towards like the ability to just 3D design, 3D scan, 3D print metal objects is getting better, and that he's going, yeah, in about 5-10 years we'll probably be good enough that we can probably one-off and reproduce any part to any gun that you would need. So like if you like right now he's like, yeah, if you want a Mauser broom handle, fuck you, you don't got enough money. But he's like 5-10 years, if you want a Mauser broom handle, all you literally just go and say is, I want one, and then somebody's gonna be like, I got you. Their printer and starts printing you all the parts, and then suddenly you got a pretty the handle's plastic. Oh no, you can just go and just have somebody make you a new wooden furniture for it. But suddenly you got the majority parts to a broom handle sitting now on your desk. You assemble it, and now you got a janky ass jam often piece of shit pistol that looks really, really cool, and you're set. And he's like, yeah, it's like it'll be awesome because as a gunsmith, he's going, this is one of the most fucking awesome ideas he's ever he's like, it's gonna piss the fuck off. I piss off all the collectors, because suddenly their ability to have a lock, the value will no longer be it's the only one there is. If you want one, you gotta pay me. It's now just simply it's an original. But if you want to just have it, but the thing is that taking these old guns that are 100 plus years old out for funsies starts getting dangerous. You don't go out and fire your 150-year-old musket. It's old. But now you could print, mill, machine, and manufacture an exact copy. And it'll be literally the same, almost exactly the same built, same thing. And he's like, to him, it was a great, he's like, cool. Now anybody who wants one can have one. It's no longer just simply, I have to get it from a designated person, and it's not a Colt, it's not from Colt, or it's not from Remington, or it's not from Mauser, but it's a good enough for good enough for a weekend, for $100 of ammo's fun, and go out and do fun shit with it. He goes, well, we're gonna see crazy ass shit being built. Now, take the idea that whatever sci-fi setting that you have that is traceable back to our world, our time right now. Think about what people do for kit cars, replicas, recreations. There's a group of German tank engineers right now who are building one-for-one exact replicas of German tanks right now. They are painstaking, labor-intensive processes, but it's all original metal. It's all new metal, new construction, built and milled to the original tolerances and sizes and scales and blueprints. But hey, if you want a Panzer II built modern day, it's got nothing old. There's no 80-year-old parts in it. It's a brand new one, and it only thing it doesn't do is shoot, but it drives. But if you want to drive around a exact replica and with all its problems, you can have one. But I'm like, now imagine what people would do 500, 600, 1,000 years from now, looking back at our time and going, because like we have people today who built recreations of the Santa Maria, of Christopher Columbus's Kerouac. We have recreations of trimarines and Greek galleys. We have all of these recreations, and I'm trying to think of what would a society that is hyper advanced do for their LARP, for their goofball fun. And say that now, with the Dominion that I was writing here, they are a post scarcity society. They have enough. It's like, if you don't want to do anything, there's enough food, here's shelter, here's clothes. But the society encourages you to do something. That how they encourage you to do things is, here's credits. These are energy credits that you can use to transfer over to whatever it is. And if you want more credits, you have to earn those credits by convincing others that your idea is a good idea, so they give you money and that you get to go out and do something bigger. So, but I'm looking at like reenactment groups like the 501st for Star Wars, where those people do amazing things, and suddenly you got 1,000. Like, if you want 1,000 stormtroopers, you've got there's 1,000 stormtroopers. Now imagine like 10,000 of those guys getting together and going, you know what? We're just going to put all of our money for the next 4 years into building a 1-for-1 scale model of a Star Destroyer. And the thing is that they would be looking back at, from their time, at our creations and going, I wonder what that would actually look like. And suddenly people are like going, yeah, these are the model builders, these are the reenactors, and there's a script, the LARPers who are just building their own dream vehicles because, well, they've got the ability to pool as a collective, as a group, all their resources and going, we've got enough food. We like this is what we want to do. We want to build a ship. And suddenly they can build a ship and do stupid shit with it. And, go out into the galaxy and, in essence, go out and do something, because why not? And I'm going to assume that most people don't want to do don't do cool shit, because most people don't do cool shit now. But the idea that when you have 100 billion people, if you only have 0.5% of 100 billion that want to do something, who are productive and innovative, you're still going to have millions and millions of people who are productive. Oh, yes. Yeah, it is. There's a guy here in town who's got a 1940s ambulance. And he comes in periodically because he's looking for parts for it. And he knows the parts are damn near impossible to get because, well, he's working on a 80-year-old vehicle. And finding those relays is getting hard as fuck. Finding the lights and the wiring, getting hard. Like, wiring's not hard, but finding the right light bulbs, yeah, damn near impossible. Finding the right thermostats for it, fucking what? No. I mean, I would love to have an original Jeep, but yeah, it's the price of upkeep is just insane. And there's another guy. He's got a 50s cruiser, and he lost his gas cap for it. And trying to find that gas cap has been a fucking slog, because he's like, it's a common gas cap, and I had to look at him and going, it was a common gas cap 70 years ago. Like, we've moved away from that. Like, that gas cap exited production 50 years ago, and the supply of that gas cap hasn't been renewed in 50 years. We don't have that gas cap. It's Napa. Of course you've got it. I'm like, no,
What do you think of Carmen Gia's?
What was that?
The Carmen Gia, the General Motors version of a VW.
No, it's not bad. Not bad. It's a G.
I've got a guy out here in the east side of town. He has 28 on property. Five of them work, and the others are parts. Go surprise.
And the thing is, that's what a lot of things have to become at a point is scavenging. I would love to. Honestly, I think it would be really nice. Well, I don't want to say nice, but I know it wouldn't fly because the moment you would try, you would get your ass beat by every car manufacturer on the planet would come down on every corporation would come down on you like a fucking sledgehammer. But the idea of building an actual catalog of every car part, just a digital one, scan it, listing off what materials went into it, what metals, its shape, how it was assembled, and have this massive catalog. Because I guarantee these catalogs used to exist, but they're all in paper format, and nobody maintains those paper format catalogs. Plus, the catalogs just tell you part number. They don't tell you anything else about it. They give you some dimensions maybe occasionally, but these catalogs are shit. I mean, no, an actual master database of everybody's car parts. And just having the ability, because that guy who has the 50s Cruiser, knowing that he can't get a gas cap for it anymore. Like, nothing fits it. Like, the supply has been drained. There is no more. And the thing is that thanks to cash for clunkers and thanks to COVID, the pull apart salvage yards don't exist anymore. The places that you used to be able to just go and say, "Hey, can I go in the back to your junkyards and just pull what I need from the wrecks?" That's gone. Like, it's now you're going to the junkyards and asking the junkyards, "Hey, can I do you have this part?" At that point, you're going to a parts desk and they're going, "Yeah," because they're already pre-pulling they're pre-salvaging all the wrecks and pulling all the valuable parts out of the wrecks now and putting them in warehouses so they can sell it to you online through and it's becoming a secondhand secondary supply source. But the days of the junkyards are gone because the metal is being sent off to be recycled and reused and as soon as the wreck has been scavenged, the wreck is gone, and you can't salvage the shit anymore. You can't walk the yards anymore. I mean, I miss the ability to just be able to go, "Hey, I'm looking for parts for X vehicle. Do you have it in the back?" "Yeah, we got like 4 or 5 of them. Just head back. Go down this way, turn here, and you'll find it." Like, no, those days are gone. Like all the big junkyards in Peoria are gone. They're just scrapyard. Like, they're just scrapyards now. Like, they go in, they strip the vehicle down, and most of it ends up on eBay because and if anyone's like, "Oh, hey, I go to Rock Auto," and I'm like, Rock Auto is just an aggregate site of a bunch of independent sellers that are selling you salvaged crap off of that you have no idea where it came from. They're either weird Chinese third-party knockoffs or salvage. Like Rock Auto's dirt. It's rock bottom, dirt cheap, bitch parts, but you have no idea where that shit came from because it's dirt cheap. So I guarantee you it came off a wrecked vehicle. I can almost guarantee it, or it's coming from China and it's a knockoff. But I can get it for 1/3 the price. Good luck, son. Good luck. Take your drunken ass down there, go buy your Rock Auto shit, and then when your car breaks down, I'll see you in 3 months. I hate saying it that way, but there's so many parts now that are just eBay only, and there just needs to be a way to So there's a lot of cars that are modern that are just junk. They're just rolling junk, and and the bad part is the good cars that you can maintain and work on are the parts are getting harder and harder to find because nobody makes that shit no more. And I kind of want to go back to the idea that somebody needs to just make a car that's easy to maintain with a universal parts that fit everything. That just go back to the old Mopar thing. And you're right, you can't really Frankenstein a vehicle together anymore. And it's the jury rigging's kind of gone out of there. And the thing here is that this is everywhere. It's everywhere. It's common as fuck. And I hate the fact that now that I work in this fucking field and I get to see this all the time, and I see the old timers come in who are used to working on, well, I can just throw whatever I want from one vehicle to the next. And I'm like, no, you can't. Well, yes, you can, but no, you can't. I mean, there's some interchangeability, but there's not. And it's just this general trend of what happens if there's a supply chain disruption? And what if there's another event similar to what we went through a few years ago? And suddenly there's nothing to keep your shit running because nobody's got a backlog. I mean, when I can look at my warehouse and go, the warehouse that supports 3 states has 200 of this part. 200 to support 4 states. And that's my entire supply. And once it's and most of the time that supply chain and that reserve of parts is more like numbering for 4 states at 4, 6, 8, that 7 something like if like when state of Illinois sends in a big part order and I have to go, oh shit, because now I'm robbing stores from like 3 or 4 states to be able to support one big order coming in. And that's okay because that's just in time manufacturing, just in time shipping and supply. And just in time just means 1 day late. It's 1 day. It's 1 day after you needed it, 2 days after you needed it. You needed it today, but you got to wait 3 days because, well, I have to get it from Grand Rapids, Michigan. That's my closest warehouse has got one. Is Grand Rapids. You don't have it any closer? No, Grand Rapids is my closest place. And suddenly,
Grand Rapids and Peoria, they're right next door to each other.
Totally. That's there are days where I gotta steal shit out of like Green Bay, Wisconsin, and it's 2 days. It's 1 day from Green Bay to reach our warehouse in Chicago, and then the next day is from Chicago to Peoria. So it's like, yeah, that part you need for your car, it's 2 days out. Well, where's it at, Green Bay? Where's it at? It's in Minnesota. Where's it at? Iowa. Where's it at? Ohio. Atlanta. I mean, there's some parts where I had to actually like have it flown in from Hawaii because that's the only place that had one. And that's where we're at. It's just misery. And yeah, things that are 20 years old are obsolete and hard to find and they're just running. And I'm just sitting here going, oh dear God. And the idea here, like, now when you start looking at like that, it suddenly threw a whole lot of just, I don't know, a new perspective on trying to run shit. Like I run your games, run my games is simply the idea that we're sorry, that thing that you need is just not there. But it also gave me the idea that maybe somebody might actually be practical and go, no, this has been the same the same big block engine that's been on everything since the 1950s to 1970s. There's parts for this thing. It was still around. It was built from like this date to this date. It was like 30 fucking years. There's parts for that. Why? Because there's still parts for that. There's just so much of it floating around.
Does this kind of solve the answer, the question that, like, I don't know if you've ever heard people ask, but I've had people ask me, why do you always run your games from a logistic standpoint? Why do you always run your games to where it's not about the story the characters make, it's always about the roads they're on. It's always about the fact that they're going somewhere. And I'm like, without travel and commerce, your fantasy campaign, the magic stops because there's no fucking spell components to use to cast spells to go places. There's no wheat to turn into flour to make bread so people can eat. There's no beer. There's nothing.
Yeah.
There's not a fucking thing you can do. So all the games I run are always about logistics.
Yeah, it's always about trade and logistics. It has to be that way. Because without it, things fall apart. And the harder and the more complex something becomes, the further afield the parts have to come. And the more things have to be a certain way. And it becomes crazy. I know I keep. I don't want to say I come back to this periodically, but I guess it's like I love to laugh at riffs a lot because, you know, Chi-Town, the evil empire of Chicago.
That does make me laugh. That makes me smile.
Especially
all the time.
Oh yeah. Especially when you realize how fucking resource we don't like. When you look at like we live close up to actually know where this shit actually happens because, well, you grew up like we both grew up in the shadow of Chicago.
Yeah, even though we're 4 hours away from it, we know exactly how to get there. We know where the main spots are at. With a little bit of time invested, we can figure out the back alleys. We can figure out the capillary roads. We can figure out the bridges that we can take the trucks under.
Yeah.
It takes a little bit of time, but yeah, we lived with Chicago looming over us for years.
For years.
Everything.
Now, when I think of Chicago, I don't think of giant robots, of semi-trucks covered in missile launchers, because I look at the natural resources of our area and going, how the fuck is Chicago? How the fuck is the evil empire of Chicago able to, with the massive industry of lower Wisconsin, Illinois, parts of Missouri, a bit of the Tennessee River Valley, Kentucky, and some of the Great Lakes region, able to have the industrial base to produce the evil empire, because it doesn't control the coal and steel line. You know, the coal mines aren't controlled by Chicago. The steel, like the iron ore pits, aren't there. Who's like, are they building the fusion engines, the nuclear powered fusion engines out of corn stalks? I mean, and because I know that with because Peoria used to be an industrial city. Used to be.
Years
I mean,
ago.
The thing here is that if you know where to look, you can see the ruins where the factories of the 80s, the 70s and 80s that could build massive tractors used to be. You can still drive by the foundries south of Bartonville. You can still see the general footprint of the levee district in East Peoria, where the assembly yards used to be. You can drive north and reach the engine manufacturing facilities of Chillicothe. You could see the scale of engineering that was here once and still technically is partially, but it's been so neutered. You can see the design and the blueprint and design technical buildings. You can see the warehouse and parts distribution center in Morton. You can see all the bits that used to be Caterpillar here. So you can get. So I guess growing up in the shadow also of what a major factory required could be. But the thing was the coal and the iron to make the steel, because Bartonville still has the steel mills, but that's just but that's not the foundries that are down the road that are but you don't have the so there's like a chunk of there's like 2/3 of what you would need to make anything in this town at one time, but we don't have the steel. The steel the steel foundries are just there to take the raw ore and the coke. We've gotten away from the monstrous U.S. Steel era of needing giant belching factories and coal coke to be able to make steel, and we're now down to actually much more revolutionary and smaller electro furnaces, which are so cool. And why U.S. Steel sucks is because we didn't upgrade when small foundries became viable. But the thing here is
what's that one place in Granite City though? There's a shop in Granite City that does steel manufacturing.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't mean to derail you, but I mean, I recognize, I remember this because Trump made a big to-do about this back in 2017 when Illinois got a visit from a capitalist president, and we were like, wait, what, where? Huh? This isn't normal.
And the thing is that I forgot which factor. No, right. The thing here is that there was a major transition that happened with technology that improved to the point where you didn't need the monstrous, the old open air giant steel manufacturing changed.
Yeah,
and you can do them in smaller, cleaner batches now and get higher and get as good a quality as the big open air smelting pits. They were. It's
I
good.
don't know anything about that. Okay, I wish I did, but I only know about the logistics side of it, where how many trucks you need a day to go into a foundry to keep it open.
Yeah, and the thing is that revolution in technology did shrink the size of a steel mill. That's legit. That's true. And also, recycling iron is actually pretty efficient now. It's actually a good idea, and you don't need as much steel coming out of from raw ore and coal when all you can do is when you already have the steel now and you can recycle it. It's great. I mean, it's one of the few things of recycling that actually works.
And that was really weird to hear that, because do you remember in the 90s whenever we'd bag up all those leaky cans of soda pop and Dr. Pepper and the crap drinks that we would bag, not even drain the can all the way, and off to the aluminum recycling center we'd go, and we try to recycle it, and we do 7 or 8 bags of aluminum cans. Dad's beer, your pop, and you get
like $20.
Not even fuck. I was thinking closer to 6 or 7. We didn't get shit for aluminum recycling in Decatur, Illinois.
Right now,
it stopped.
Right now, when we crush all of our cans, and we when we do it, because my house has a lot of sodas. So about once a year, we haul all our cans down, and we get $40 for all our cans, and it's a lot of cans. And hey, it's a free movie that we get to go watch.
Okay.
But I mean, no, iron actually is a good recyclable. So there's a guy who comes by about once a week to grab all of our defective rotors, which right now because of how shit Chinese iron is and Chinese steel is. A lot of rotors come in defective. A lot of calipers calipers always go back, but no, our rotors come in, they're all fucking shit. And people are like, this is busted. Well, we can't send them back, so we just give it to our junk guy. We write it off and give it to our junk guy, and our junk guy hauls off on average 2 to 8 rotors a week that are just shit because they come from China, because that's where they're all made.
What do you know about PTO?
Was that?
What do you know about PTOs?
Not much.
Okay. So this is I guess I have to throw it up on Gilded. Let me throw it on Gilded. So my PTO, I didn't realize that the connecting piece was a piece of rubber. It feels like rubber or plastic. It's garbage.
Yeah.
And my boss seems to think that we're going to use these two pieces, the one that I broke and the one that he had reinstalled. Where's that? Gimme.
Oh no, I think I might know what this is, but no, I don't. Oh.
Okay, so this piece entire screen share.
Well, that's been well used.
Oh yeah. Damn it. I hate Steam. For some odd reason on my computer, by the way, I've got a back, get out. Why am I go away, Steam? I'm not exit Steam. Thank you. Confirm. Thanks. Fucking irritating. Okay. So yeah. My Steam was begging me to play. Come on, you haven't played any games all day today.
Oh god, yeah.
So I got this piece that was on my truck, and fuck, it looks like it just burned up completely and got shredded. And the PTO that I have, we just put a new pump on, and I have to rev it up sometimes because it's just it's gonna be nasty.
Yeah.
Like you've got 4 hoses, a 3-inch line that stretches over 80 or 90 feet, and it regularly running at 600 RPM is not going to pull sludge, which is not easy to move. And I'm trying to water it down anyway, not really doing well. I ran it for 20 minutes, and this happened to my PTO. So, like, I come around the corner after I hear everything shut down. My PTO is still kind of whining, but it's not making any noise because there's no friction going on. The part where it was rubbing and getting the grip now is burned away. There's a giant white cloud of smoke where my truck is, and I panic, as anybody would. I run to my truck, I shut things down, I start doing photographs of everything, and I call my boss. I'm like, hey, I don't think I'm going to be able to do much. He's like, fuck, that's 5 hours out of the hole. I said, dude, you sent me up to Driftwood, Texas. This is what happens. It is a brand new pump. We hadn't put it through its paces yet. This is day one that we're doing it. This is it. This is the lumps. He's like, yeah, I get it. This sucks. But that part right there completely destroyed 5 hours of labor because I had to drive 2 hours there, was there for a full hour, didn't even get it all done, and drive 2 hours back with a partial load. At least the customer paid us on that 800 gallons I was able to pull. But that sucked. And for some odd reason, like I was expecting this to be made of metal, not of like some rubberized plastic.
No.
It feels like rubberized plastic.
It probably was rubber, but the rubber has aged enough that it turned into plastic.
Yeah. So I just like it's one of those things where I throw my hands up in the air like I didn't do it. I did not I did not think that we would have to be using rubber to drive 1,000 RPMs to pull suction to get the sludge. And that was Wednesday. And then, like, Thursday it was kind of cold here. And I told the boss, dude, if it's kind of cold and we have a possibility of precipitation, I'm going to get fucked. Because the moment I go out with the truck, that guarantees it's raining. And I'm going to have to drive on icy, slick roads. I can drive on any road. But heaven forbid that there's another person on that road driving an automatic that's from South Texas that doesn't know how to drive on these roads. And I'm like, I just don't want to go to work on Thursday. And if Friday's going to be the same with more ice, I don't want to go out. So I had a 4-day weekend. Sucks. I only got 38 hours on 3 days of work. But man, I was not going to go out again. Not if. And Thursday, when I came outside just to check weather at about maybe 4 a.m., it was super cold. Like, really cold. And I could feel like the little crystals coming from somewhere. Like, it wasn't precipitation, but you can tell when there's fog crystals in the air, right?
Yep.
And I'm like, I'm not going out. I looked at my phone. He didn't text me trying to change my mind. He's like, I don't want to go out either. I said, okay. Then, I mean, that makes two of us. We're good. We're good with saving our equipment. We already got to fucking fix my truck because my PTO's busted to hell, which it's fixed now. It'll be working on Monday. But man, that is a negative. That is a super fucking negative about what I do.
Still, and it's a brand new truck. And that was a brand new truck, right?
Not brand new. It's got 400,000 miles on it, but we've just put a brand new pump on it.
Yeah, but I'm not going. That's a lot of dry. Like, that was some serious dry rot in that car in that rubber gear.
Yeah. Like, I don't even know if that thing was like in good shape before they mounted it, because the way it came apart, and it was only like 20 minutes I ran it like that at 1,000 RPM. If Hungar was in here, he could probably tell me what I did right or wrong on it. But I'm telling you, like, I was just not impressed with how quickly that thing shreds apart. I don't want to drive up to Driftwood again with the same fucking, like, we had a spare one of those PTO cogs. I really don't want to go to Driftwood and do that. I'll do it, but I mean, I don't want to. I guess that's the takeaway. I don't want to do this, but I like getting paid.
Yeah.
I'd like to have it done properly. I want to be able to pull the stuff. The good thing is the house is a real estate sale and it's abandoned. So if I do get to go back there and try to pull it again, it's not going to have like a fresh load of shit in the septic tank. It's going to be still down at the same level where it was at, unless we get like a ton of rain. And I don't think that's going to happen.
Oh,
I really
fuck.
don't.
That cog is expensive as fuck.
What?
Oh, sorry. I'm seeing a broken that broken coupler like that.
Mm-hmm.
My brain immediately went into work mode where I started looking for the actual part, see how hard it would be to replace and its price tag. I'm like, okay, I can see how that would get worn out pretty easy with time.
Oh yeah, like I did 5 jobs that day.
Yeah.
Before that failure, I had 5 jobs in. But then I did that one job, and it took me 2 hours to drive up to Driftwood in the middle of nowhere. And Driftwood's a nice place. It's kind of close to this other oasis called Dripping Springs. And I don't know if you're familiar with whiskey. Some are, some aren't.
Yeah.
Dripping Springs, Texas is kind of like a sacred place for whiskey drinkers because there's a lot of whiskey stills in that area that are professional and amateur. And like, here's Driftwood. There's Dripping Springs. There's another.
Okay.
It's not too far, but you figure that's Austin and that's San Antonio. 2
Yeah.
hours all the way up there. It's like, fuck.
But
So
mechanical failures happen. That's just the truth of what happens with it.
it does.
I mean, I had to redline a truck this weekend just because this week because it blew a radiator T. I mean, and I'm like, well, fuck.
Do I want to know how much that thing is for your for your company store?
Depending on the size of the cog, anywhere between 120 to 380.
What are the various sizes? Can I ask?
Let me go pull it back up. Sorry, I closed the window because I didn't want to look at it anymore. Let's see here. What do we got size? Let's see. They're not telling me the actual size. I tell me the variety of that are under that part number.
Okay. Yeah, I think you spent like $220 to $260 on each one. And he said he bought two, and it takes us 2 jobs to equal that because my boss, he doesn't really charge a lot for a lot of his older accounts. He's not into he's raising prices as a last gasp before he closes, and he's nowhere near that yet.
Okay, okay, about 200. Okay, I just don't. I wish this thing would tell me how big this coupler is, so I can actually be able to look at the.
To give you an idea, it's about 6.5 inches in diameter.
Okay, all right. Sorry, I don't have access to my actual full catalog, so I was like, okay, I'll do some shit researching. Wow, okay.
Yeah, yeah. But not trying to blow you away with the tales of my job, or
No, it's okay.
because it's funny, but you start talking to me about inches and gallons per minute, and I start thinking about my work, and I start talking to you about like various vehicle parts, and you're starting to pull things up on your database like, oh, well, I wonder how much this costs. I wonder how much that costs. Yeah. I kind of wonder if everybody's like that, but there's got to be at least a few people out there that are like, fuck you, I'm drinking. Bah. The weekend, not gonna think about work. Bah. And then like Sunday morning before they head off to wherever, before they go off to church or head off to Denny's to see their friends, they're there online looking at their various stuff that reminds them of their job so they can get paid on Friday.
The thing is that I'm not worried at all about it because the simple fact that it's just like I'm just having fun at home. Like what when I'm hanging out with some of my friends, some of my other friends, and we start bitching about the things. Like one of my friends, he installs auxiliary generators, and he hates his job with a passion, but then he'll start bitching about it and he'll get way fucking technical about it because that's just what the fuck we do. Or we'll start talking and then he'll start just doing the math out for, something bullshitty. And we're like, dude, we're not buying your generator. You're not installing one here. You don't have to think about it. No, too late. I'm already working on it. And I'm like, all right. I think everyone at some level does it. It's like if they know it and you start engaging that database, that mental database, their brains immediately start working on what they know. And it's who we are. It's what we do.
I guess that's how that works. I haven't really thought about that in a lot of senses until I get in a conversation with you about that, because typically with my other friends, I don't talk about septic and grease, like a lot of my D&D game, we talk a lot about that because oddly enough the players are always hunting down in sewers. Like I don't know, there should be a meme for my channel where like we have a count of how many monsters we've fought in sewers since this campaign started. We have fought over 79 monsters in the sewers, you know. And I think I might have to actually make that meme. But
Well, and the thing is that most of us run what we know. I
mhm.
mean, some of the people who I goof around with, they all kind of I realize, yeah, okay, I know a lot about stupid shit because those details sneak their way into conversations. Like I one person just goes, I have no idea what you know 3/4 of the what you're talking about 3/4 of the time, but I know you're passionate and I know you actually know your shit. And I'm like, thanks. It's
Oh,
like I just know not to talk about boats or trades with you. And I'm like, there's a lot of other things you can't talk to me about, but we don't talk about those. So
so sad news.
yeah,
You see the USS United or the SS United States is going down to Alabama right now.
yeah, they're getting ready to sink her.
How do you feel about that?
They've had decades to try to save it, utterly
Mhm.
decades.
Yeah.
There has been so many efforts to try to save it. None of them have panned out. I would like to see the ship saved, but n- nobody's got enough money to do it. There's and sadly, not every ship can be turned into a museum. And honestly, I would rather her be sunk as a reef, which is what they want to do with her, more than being turned into razor blades or shitty cars in India.
Now, listen, there is a fine, fine line where you have shitty cars in India or maybe just superiorly engineered crap cars out of Germany. Because
I know,
nothing to me says waste of money than you paid $70,000 for a fucking Mercedes Benz. You know
I know. I
that
hate the Mercedes,
that's like
BMWs and Mercedes. Nope.
I value VW. I don't know all the ins and outs my grandfather did. What grandfather did. My grandfather was at one point a a a technician or mechanic that VW owners and VW dealers in Macon County really looked up to because the guy he could figure it out. Like that's something that men are going to discover again here in the coming years. Lately, you know, it's been a few years since men have really been in a position to be men, but you're seeing more and more guys that are going into the trades or they're doing manual labor of some sort or some sort of skilled labor. And being a mechanic is not a bad job at all. Being a mechanic is recession proof. You know, you're always going to have a spot somewhere to fill because you can turn a wrench and you can fucking make things go. And
Got a story on that one.
my grandfather, he was really good with VW, and like he tried explaining it to me when I was too stupid to catch it, and his words are hitting me in my 50s now or late 40s, I should say, and I'm kind of getting it from what he says now, but it took me decades to be able to unlock those memories and start seeing exactly what perspective he was trying to share with me. My dad will be happy to know that, hey, I'm not a complete idiot at a loss whenever it's time to turn a wrench. I can do stuff. Now, mind you, I I take great pride in my Subaru that I drive, but I have no problem getting that car to my wife's job where she handles the fluid draining because that's what she does. She's really good at it. She's really good at getting under the hood of a car or getting underneath it and getting everything drained out and getting the new stuff in it's supposed to be in it. She's also the type of person to tell you don't get your transmission fluid changed because it's perfectly balanced where it is. If you fucking open up a brand new bottle and shove that in a vacant tank, your car is not going to be used to this new off the shelf shit and it's going to start coughing and not running the way you should have it. Don't do that. She's smart like that. A VW microbus. You ever ride in one of those there, Kai?
Yes.
Grandparents had one for 10 years. I camped in it because the top would pop open, and there was in that spot there was a sleeping bag or a sleeping cot, and it was kind of adventurous. Like I could see where a bunch of kids would really find those microbuses to be fun.
Now I will say that the old VW and the modern VW are definitely not the same company.
No, they're not. And I didn't mean to step on you for for wanting to rip on VW along with Mercedes. I just have never liked Mercedes. But
Actually, I will take a Volkswagen any day over, say, BMW, who I detest. Mercedes and BMWs. Okay, now I got like two stories here. Now, mind you, I work at a domestic parts store. I love it when people walk in and they're like, I drive a 2009 Mercedes Benz C355i. He's been in here enough times. I know what fucking vehicle he's got with with a certain size engine, and we're like, sir, you've been in here every week for the last 3 months. Every Saturday, you come in and we don't have parts for you. We never have parts for you. We're never going to have parts for you. We don't stock them. It's like, I will order you them and they'll be here next Saturday when you come in and buy it and pick them up. And he's always pissed at us because we don't have parts for his goddamn Mercedes Benz.
sad.
And the thing is that he doesn't know what he's doing. He's not an actual trained technician. He's a wrench turn. He's just a do-it-yourselfer. Turning wrenches in his own backyard garage mechanic, working on a Mercedes. So he'll come in. He doesn't know what part he needs, and so we literally order him the part he tells us to order. He picks it up the next Saturday. He comes in the next Saturday, returns the part because it's wrong. We know it's wrong. We know that he's an idiot, and we know we're going to give him his money back.
I wouldn't. Maybe ship it from St. Louis or Minneapolis.
Yeah.
Or Pittsburgh, wherever the part's from. You're not getting your parts money back. Sorry, dude.
And so slowly but surely, we've ended up with CV axles, the mounting points for CVs that he just doesn't like. He's sure it's a CV problem, so he orders the right. Well, that didn't fix it, so he orders the left. Well, that didn't fix it. Well, maybe it's transmission mounts, so he orders the mounts. Then they come in. Well, hey, these mounts are not commonly used. Well, he gets all bitchy because, hey, they have a little bit of oxidation on them because, well, it's been sitting on a shelf for literally 10 years. It's going to have some oxidation. What's that?
What year is this car again?
2009.
You got a special one there. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. So we order him new mounts that arrive. They're the exact same mounts, same part number, everything. Hey,
asks how much longer before the scrap yards in Mexico be the sole location for older model VW parts. I don't think so, because I think the scrap yards in Mexico are still going to be the locations where I can find reliable international truck parts up until the year 2013. And after that, then I got to go to some scrap yard in Brazil.
Yep. The hard part is getting those damn parts across the border. That's my phone. And getting them here. I want access to those Mexican supply salvage yards. I want them because there's parts there, but I can't get them because they're in fucking Mexico.
That is the game. I could send you some people, but I don't know if they'll make it all the way up to Illinois. They might get stuck in like a detention facility somewhere in Kansas or something.
Yeah, but no, that's just there's one shop in Peoria that's he's an old school guy. He's been turning wrenches for fucking an eternity, and he's an independent Volkswagen repair guy. He's had a microbus on the lift on one of his lifts now for 5.5 years.
Same lift,
same bus. Because the guy, now mind you, the bus belongs to a former state senator who doesn't give a shit about it, and it's being worked on as the senator can find parts and sends the parts to him. And honestly, I periodically I ask him, like, do you ever get this bus off the lift? And he goes, oh, periodically when I need it to use the lift for somebody else. So it's just my spare lift, and it just sits there in the air constantly. And I'm like, do you ever just actually like do anything with this bus? Just periodically I'll walk over there and turn a wrench, and but he's got real work to do, and he's actually a good mechanic, but I think he just keeps that bus around as kind of like, well, I'm a certified VW mechanic, and it's a VW. It's my placeholder. But it's just kind of like him and the old guy come over there and just like bitch and turn wrenches on weekends on it. That's what they do. So, and I give him credit because I just walk by and just go, hey, I think you got to do a new layer of dust on it, and he's like, shut up, and I'm just, here's your part, sir. And I leave.
What was it's not the Carmen Ghia. Chevrolet inspired by Volkswagen car. Yeah, what is that? No, not Trax. Monza. That was the Corvair. My bad. It was not the Carmen Ghias that I got a line on. The Corvairs. Got a guy here in town that's got like 13 different varieties of them. They're either a rear engine or mid engine set of vehicles. They're crazy. But Chevrolet got really inspired by Volkswagen. Had a whole line of these vehicles out between 60 and 69. They had them in 4-door, 2-doors, convertibles. They had a 4-door station wagon, passenger van, pickup truck body styles, 2-door coupes. They were crazy. And this guy, he's got like 28 varieties. 14 of them are of the same make and model, like 65 and 67. One of these days.
Yeah.
I would love to have the money to just have one of them because they're an easy, you can service it yourself vehicle. If you don't know what you're doing, it'll be a fun exercise. And I know a guy that's got all the parts. Any new music you listened to lately? Come on.
Honestly,
you're listening to music all the time, dude.
I am listening to music all the time, but I listen to my same playlist. I'm kind of boring. It's a very big playlist, but it's kind of boring. That I think I added like maybe 3 new songs to the list. So, and they're just extra tracks that I like. Ooh, here's one I hadn't heard in a while.
So I kind of got back focused more towards Viking metal for a moment,
Yeah.
and then that spills into folk metal.
Yes.
Well, Trollfest and Corpiclani and Innispherum are going to be in Austin, Texas next month
Ooh.
on the 22nd of March. And I'm like, oh man, that's only 2 hours away. I started thinking about it, and they're like wanting $30 at the door. No big deal. That's easy. I started thinking about it. I have to go to Austin. Last time I was in Austin, a homeless guy showed me his dick within like the first 10 minutes of me trying to get the hoses off the truck and get to work. And this homeless guy's in my alley because I'm trying to pump out the grease trap behind the restaurant. And this dude just decides that I need to see this shriveled small micro penis and these huge fucking old man balls that got like you ever get like your appendix and like half your nuts get shaved and the other half is still bushy, like the insurance money runs out in midpoint of the operation. So that's what I was struck with that day. That was my view. And I thought about like I could go to Austin and see some hairy men play instruments and I could scream loudly and go, yeah. But I don't want to go to Austin now that I've thought of this. I've just convinced myself to not go see 3 bands that are worth watching. Because I'm like, oh, wait, never mind. I value my sanity. I want to see them, I really do, but like that's too far.
I don't blame you.
And it's not too far from the scene of the incident where I saw the half shaven someone else's. Yeah, I don't know. No, I don't want to go there. And usually when I go to Austin, like some homeless guy with a dog is asking me for $1. I'm like, no, I don't got $1, man. I got it. I don't carry cash. Well, here's my Venmo. Fuck you. You're not homeless. You're choosing. I'm sorry, Six Nations. My hell, you guys get to participate in my hell. You're still here.
Perfect.
You listen to Corpiclani, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay. It'd be easier if I didn't have to be somewhere and like be around a bunch of homeless, but like that's everywhere in Austin. There's like only one little spot in Austin where the homeless are not. And that's because they will call the cops and the cops have to go and pick them up and take them somewhere else. I think that's how the HOA works over at the Domain. I don't know. If you understand what I just said when I said the Domain, you understand that I said like there's no homeless there. No homeless, no stray dogs, nothing. Yeah, I don't want to go to San Fran. We have our own San Fran. We have San Fran at home.
God. Oh.
Yeah, that's what Austin is to us. It's San Fran at home. Do you want to go to San Fran at home? One of these days, I'll make a bad porn, and it'll be like Wookiee porn. It'll be like you think there's sex going on, but there's so much hair you can't understand if that's what you're watching or not. Let the Wookiees hit the floor. Let the Wookiees hit the floor. Sorry.
It's all right. I'm
Oh, I miss you, Hetty. This lady
Oh.
here used to be in all of our live streams. She's a friend of our friend Doomcox. Hetty has been a stalwart member of the channel for years. Good to see you again, dear. Missed you. Yeah. If you have Gilded, I'm on Gilded, Hetty. Apparently, there is more than one San Fran. We don't just have Austin, we have Boise.
The degeneracy is just universal. It's just not everyone can afford to go to California.
Love you, Hetty, Miss Lamar. You be sweet, okay? You take care. Enjoy yourself. Let me send a invite to Connell real quick. No, Connell, don't stream. I've got the stream all over here. There we go. And hell. There we go. Everybody gets a link.
Yeah, link. Yep.
Take care of yourself, Hetty. Look forward to talking to you soon. She's been a supporter here, part of the channel subscriber base, etc. God, like almost 6-7 years. Real good lady. Sweet person. So, Khy, are you playing through Ace Combat 6 or 7?
7.
Have you made it into the meat of the campaign, or are you still in like the first 6 or 7 missions?
I'm still in the first 6 or 7 just because I'm just I've been playing a few other things in the meantime.
Mm-hmm.
Been really playing a lot of Deep Rock Galactic, so
Really?
yeah.
Was not aware that you had that game.
It is a goofy game. I enjoy it. I've got a few friends who will occasionally sneak on and will just screw up at exceedingly high rates of time because I am a really, really shit engineer.
See, that's my favorite class in the game.
Oh no,
I didn't say I'm good at it. I just said it's my favorite class.
oh no. I'll be honest. I like Scout, but Scouts are just there to explode. So honestly, I should probably just be given minor and just be told to just dig while everyone else does the real work, and all I do is just dig.
Crafty, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing fine. So far, connection's better than earlier.
Well, everybody was on earlier.
Yeah. Oh, like to explain, explain, like, for example, the how bad it is for when I'm on Shadows and Justin's shows. Imagine all the problems I had throughout the day condensed in 2 hours.
Khy, I know you were sleeping earlier today, but if you would have been part of our viewing audience for the game stream, you could have been part of the time. For 30 minutes, you'd have Crafting pop in,
God.
he would do some robotic talk, and then he'd go out for about maybe 4 minutes, and he'd pop back in, get another like half of a line down with Mr. Roboto, and then he'd get knocked out. And for about 30 minutes, this carousel kept going around. It was very weird. I thought he was in the FrontierNet death spiral.
Just be thankful that none of the streaming shit is run by EA.
Oh dear God.
You're like, hey, $9.99 a month, you'll be able to stream for X amount of hours, and then 2 months later they're shut down.
My favorite gaming convention I've ever seen, or the gaming expo or whatever, is where the girl starts talking about how she feels loot boxes are the way of the future. And she's like, we have got to get in the gamers' pockets, and the loot box is the way how to do it. They're trolling Devolver Digital, I think is who it was.
Ugh.
They trolled the fuck out of everybody by just saying, no, we're gonna get into loot boxes. We're gonna make sure we bankrupt the entire cattle stable of individuals that love our stuff. We're gonna get into these people's heads and force them to buy a loot box every day. There's $100, every moment that we can sell. And then the Microsoft person became a D&D person or Hasbro person. D&D just hasn't been properly monetized yet.
And that's why D&D is becoming
Soulless asshats.
All right, guys. I tried to pull Connell.
nah.
Yeah, it's worth a try.
Yeah, it is. I mean, when we stop, you can always go over to his channel and robot over there for a little bit. Operation Shanghai Connell has been postponed. We'll try again tomorrow. Khy, have you ever seen the movie Scanners with Michael Ironside?
Yes.
So I'm going to watch it for the first time tomorrow.
It's a movie.
It's awesome.
It is an awesome movie.
Since I don't have a costume, I'm thumbnail my icon here to reflect all Ruth, but I've got the perfect image. I don't want to ruin it. It's a sight gag.
Okay. Crafting, have you ever seen this movie?
No.
Are you familiar with the movie?
I think so. Well, I shouldn't say no, but what is it about?
It's about telepaths and psychics that are being unveiled across America.
The sight gag.
There's 236
Are you familiar with David Cronenberg?
Say again?
You might as well say Arukshta Takra, because I would have just as much knowledge of that person.
Wow. I swear.
All right, so it's a David Cronenberg movie. It deals with science fiction, technically horror, because some of the stuff's horrific. But you know how certain directors have a certain theme, like Spielberg, for example, Michael Bay. David Cronenberg is into and weird sciencey stuff. So what was the other one?
Videodrome?
The Brood.
The Brood is good.
Videodrome. Existence. It's just weird. Videodrome. My God. Gotta watch
None of those seem familiar to me.
Okay, so from what you've just said and from what his reaction is, I need to be able to pull Crafting and Janet on the same show because I don't think Janet's seen all of the Cronenberg collection either, and I haven't. My David Cronenberg time is The Fly Part 1.
Yeah, 1986 fly.
Yeah, with Jeff Goldblum and Gina Davis. Which
I was not impressed with that. I like most of the older movies, but I was not impressed with that movie.
when you say older movies, this one here was in color, not in black and white.
Oh yeah, but
Okay.
I've watched everything from black and white to all up to 2000. No, I've seen. No, I haven't. I've only seen bits and pieces. I have not watched the most. Yeah, the most modern movie I've seen was the first Deadpool.
Okay. That's
But
fair.
yeah, most of my taste lies like the era of Under Siege with
Steven Seagal?
yeah, that's where most of my movie experience lies.
That's not too bad.
In fact, thanks to my grandmother, I'm a young Steven Seagal fan. I've seen what he looks like now, and it's like,
There's an entire YouTube channel out there called Jason Brandt. And Jason Brandt and his wife
Yes.
and their best friends will come over. That three of them will watch a movie all together, and you get to see snippets of those movies. And Steven Seagal is, in the last 8 years, he does not get up in these movies. He's seated. He's doing martial arts, or he's in a sniper position, in a bloated sniper position. And then there's one time where he's in a middle of a fight in a brown gi, and he looks like he's in a fat suit. Steven Seagal in a fat suit. This is not. I realize I'm not a slender man myself. That this is a level of comedy that should not exist. And Steven Seagal keeps making films like this. I don't understand. Like, how can you make movies when you're Steven Seagal? Because you're forgetting the hero's story. It's just Steven Seagal on camera being a general badass, killing all the people. And that's it. That's every show. He never
I'm
has
a
a
fat
challenge, never gets his face
But-
busted, never.
I'm not Seagal fat. Him from Above the Law, and then I see him in a movie from, the last 10 years, and I'm thinking, holy shit. You must be eating good in Russia.
Oh my god. It's a bit disturbing. Okay.
So, anyway, back to Scanners. Enjoy it. It's not high budget extravaganza, but the story is awesome. And if I recall, there was something mentioned about senders that the idea of this movie.
That could be interesting.
So the idea, like, it was supposed to be like bad psychics are trying to take over the U.S. and the U.S. government is making good psychics. And then it turned into Scanners, which it was during that movies, the Fury and
Okay.
etc.
Is this movie a film that you could say is almost an analogy for the Cold War?
It could be, because it deals with the military/security industrial complex,
Okay.
but it also harkens back to just randomly experimenting drugs on people, like thalidomide. So instead of flipper babies, you get like these that can I got thinking about the Sionis' handbook after you had mentioned the sinners. I was like, damn, book work.
Worth a
Yeah,
short.
if only it did work in the game.
Be playing Blue Oyster Cult and astral projecting and talking to the gods.
Hmm.
God.
I need to go outside, hit this with Krylon, and I'll be right back.
I got a quick question.
Yeah.
All right.
Would you guys classify Jedi version of the Force as space magic or space psionics?
Space magic.
I'd personally qualify it as space psionics. Now, I have seen enough from other
Yeah,
IPs to
space
know
magic.
that the Force in general is space magic. But I'd say what the Jedi's use is more akin to that of psionics.
Depends on which version and which era of the Force we're looking at.
I know the movies, The Force Awakens. No, not The Force Awakens. The Force Unleashed, The Force Unleashed 2, and Jedi Survivor, and Fallen Order.
Honestly, if it was the original trilogy, I would say it's space ionics. But as they started to add more and more crazier things that they can do, it turns more and more into space magic.
Hmm.
When you start seeing like force healing, where the telekinesis starts to be able to move, drag down space, star destroyers, or hyperspeed running, or seeing through into the warp. Into the afterlife. It starts to transition from into straight magic, like some of the Clone Wars stuff, where they're going. Some of the Clone Wars or Rebels and stuff that happens. It's seriously magic. It's straight up magic at that point, where they're starting to like walk through dimensions, travel between worlds.
Now, that one I have not seen, but everything that I've seen, thanks to my, I guess, Palladium experience, because everything falls more under the purview of psionics than magic in Palladium for Jedi version of the Force.
Yeah. If you start going into more of some of the more like in the animated universe, like the various animated series, you'll start seeing the idea that no, it's magic. I mean,
Well, like I said, the basis of Force is magic. I mean, I've seen
right.
it, and they've made sure that everyone knows that the Force, the Jedi's survival, and Jedi Fallen Order were both canon, which means the Dathomir Force witches are canon.
Yeah. Honestly, if you're looking for a conversion that will actually work, wizard no, cleric no, sorcerer yes.
Okay.
I mean, they're just space sorcerers. I mean,
Well, if I'm going to play, I'm going to hunt down one of the actual games. It's just
right.
that's something I've gotten into several arguments with people about. It's like and I didn't think about it until you started pointing out the way it works. It's like, well, maybe my view of psionics is a little tainted because of Palladium.
And everyone's there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, everyone's got a basis from where they pull, which is where their basis of where they pull from comes from. Me, I have to remember that not everyone plays Exalted or Mage the Ascension or World of Darkness. So therefore, I gotta go. Well, not everything's a charm, or not everything's a sphere of magic.
Yeah.
But then again, when I don't think World of Darkness, I default back to Pathfinder 1 and D&D 3 and D&D 3X, because well, that was 20 years of work that I enjoyed. Then it's like, So my various tainting of, like, my own tainting will slowly start peeling away all the layers and layers of trash. And then you get, and then at the very core of it all is West End game Star Wars. And that's literally pretty much like that's almost like a kind of psionic magic hybrid right there, because whenever you leveled up a die in force powers, you got 2 new force abilities.
Yeah.
And so eventually your spell list becomes quite long.
Yeah, I don't doubt that.
What was that?
I said I don't doubt that.
Oh yeah. Well, okay. West End Games Force Powers was based on the idea that you had, what was it? Control, Sense, Alter is your 3 dice pools that you have for all your abilities. And your various powers use some combination of those two, one of those, usually 1 to 3. I have 1 to 2 of the 3 dice pools are what you use. So it's like your Sense gives you bonuses towards lightsaber combat, and Alter, I think, gives you bonus dice damage towards lightsaber combat. So you just auto kill everything because if you don't take lightsaber combat as one of your force powers, what are you doing? Playing Star Wars. And like, why are you playing a Jedi if you're not using lightsaber combat? And abusing the 2 most powerful spells, force abilities in the game, which is energy absorption and lightsaber combat. Those 2 make you invincible until somebody shows up with a shotgun, and then utters the magic words of "parry this, casual," and then you die. What was that?
Parry this, casual.
Yeah. Look, once you encounter it, like once you watch that first Jedi player start doing something really bonkers, you start to understand why the Mandalorians carry shotguns. And shotguns and flechette cannons. And like, I could parry all day long, and then you're just like, whatever. Remington says no as you rack another round into the barrel, and then just slam fire 6 rounds into his chest, and you're like, whatever.
I got, as a veteran player of that game, I got
mostly want to pull a Neo, but then they'd be copying.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Let's see. I think it was James when I said I had an idea for a character I wanted to play, and he just said I would be a glutton for punishment at that point. Given what you just said, you might agree. I would love to play as a player a Star Wars, a Jedi that is not necessarily a gray Jedi, but he is like, I don't want to deal with either, like during the after the fall of the Republic. So I don't want to deal with either side. I will literally hide my force powers and purposely not use them just because I don't want to deal with either of your bullshit.
So you're at that point playing. There's an archetype for that in West End Star Wars. I think it's one of the. There's an entire archetype dedicated to. Congratulations, you are a washed out alcoholic former Force using Jedi, who's now just bar crawling and hiding the fact that you use Force powers.
Yes, and I was told that would make me a glutton for punishment.
Yeah, well, honestly, at that point, congratulations, you're playing discount Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I don't mind.
From episode 4. I mean, so what are you playing? I'm playing an old hobo living in a hut off the grid. I am, over there. But don't worry, Vader doesn't come out here because it's full of sand, and it's also like 10 miles outside of where he wants to walk, because that's my uncle's house. I don't want to go there. I haven't talked to him in 20 years. It'll get awkward. Plus there's sand. I don't want to go there. He's literally right there. No, he's not. Your son's there. No, he's not. Why would he be there?
Hunter has competition with
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, if you want to, like, there is an archetype, like there is a character sheet that you can just take that is literally failed Jedi. That is literally just you just sit there, and the picture for it is great. It's just an old guy in a bathrobe at a bar with some stubble on it. And congratulations, you start with a lightsaber. You have really shitty force power dice. Your stats aren't that great, but you're a failed Jedi. You can hide all you want, and do whatever the heck you want, because okay. First off, it's West End game Star Wars, so you get to play whatever you want to play. You after game starts, you can do whatever you want. You can level however you want. Your points go wherever you need them, and you could play. You could piss off everyone in your group because you've taken the one Force user the party's allowed to have, and then do nothing with it. And everybody else who wants to play a Jedi will stare at you and go, "We weren't allowed to play a Force user because you're taking the slot up. So you could play, Slav Slolo over there drinking. You motherfucker. We could have somebody heroic or cool, but no. Nah. You missed your AA meeting, and now you're a part of the group. Congratulations." I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but it is depressing for those of us who would like to play the Force user, but we're only allowed to have one Force user per group, because either have one or everyone's a Force user. And if everyone's a Force user, nobody's special. And at that point, you're just playing, well, we're playing during the Clone Wars, guys, or we're playing during the Old Republic. Yeah. And it's like, which, hey, that's a whole different game, and that's not Star Wars. That's the Old Republic.
Yeah. Yeah. Admittedly, it makes me sound like a bit more like an ass, I'll admit, but I kind of like the idea of the washed out Jedi just a little bit more than what I had, which was he's just hiding his powers because after what happened, he doesn't feel either side deserves him because he's a little bit arrogant. And then at one point, he'd be forced to use his powers to save the crew. But I like the drunken burnout, fallout, washout better.
I mean, there's actually multiple Jedi who are like that are in there. Like, you played Fallen Order, so you know there's at least that one's a Padawan that managed to escape.
Yep.
You have the Jedi who was part of the crew of the Ghost from Rebels, where he's a washed out Padawan who survived the massacres. They're everywhere. I hate the what's the right word for it? The proliferation of Jedi. That's
the biggest problem with that entire system.
All the Jedi, except for the 1,000 of them over here that are all like, "Hi, we all survived." And at which point, I kind of want somebody to go, for having committed a genocide on your entire religion, we sure weren't that efficient, because there's always another fucking Force user that we missed. I mean, God, I like cockroaches. Force user cockroaches. I just need it.
Not necessarily. Control core, the or exploratory core.
Yeah.
You can use your Force powers for humanitarian aid.
Yeah.
But that just ain't the thing.
Now, I would like that, but no, I'm just more looking at the fact that as the fiction always seems to make everyone a Force user, and I'm just I don't know, maybe it's that ultimate frustration of just going, really, does everyone have to be a Force user today? And
yeah,
you can like it takes away from the fact that supposedly Luke is supposed to be the last hope for the galaxy, and you're the last. Everyone else is dead. All the masters are gone.
He's
You're
the balance force.
except for the other 400 of them over here.
Which are followed by the next 400,000, which will come along in the next 3 years.
Yeah, pretty much. And then it's like, wow, Skywalker, you're totally not that impressive anymore because everyone's obviously able to be. I mean,
Even an old man can all of a sudden be a Jedi for no reason.
Right. Well, don't worry. Supposedly all the masters are gone. Well, don't worry. There's like another one over here under a rock in a tree stump. You kick over a log and like, wow, that log had a child. It's a Jedi. And suddenly you have everyone like there's like, oh, don't worry, we have Force ghosts everywhere. Wasn't that supposed to be like special? No, everyone can Force ghost now. I mean, this kind of Force ghost across the entire galaxy now. Okay.
Force ghosts show up to the point that how is there a repeat of history?
There's Force ghosting everywhere now. Like everyone's like,
everybody's a Force ghost.
Yeah, it's like
everyone.
Like, didn't I kill you? Oh no, I'm back in blue form now. Oh,
and how do I deal with you now? Well, that's the neat part. You don't.
You don't. But now I can impart all of my wisdom and training and schooling from the afterlife. Great. So killing you isn't even an option anymore. Nope. I'm poking you now. I'm poking you. Hey, I moved to drink. Sure.
You know what they need to do?
Yeah.
Gary the Stormtrooper.
Yes.
His own series. You want to reboot Star Wars? Gary the Stormtrooper.
The Imps. If you look it up on YouTube, it's only 3 episodes, but there are 3 great episodes. Imps is just wonderful.
I like Imps. I also like the Tales of Red 5 or Pink 5.
Yes.
Pink 5 was funny.
But no, I just come back to I will periodically just boot Imps up just to rewatch them, just because it is just watching the ATST break down on that snow planet always makes me happy. It's like, all right, we're leaving, and all of a sudden you just hear it start up, and then something breaks, and like, fuck. And it feels right because it like right at my heart, like that probably happens more often than not. And,
well, that's one of the things I do like about the Star Wars universe. It's not a perfectly pristine universe. If something doesn't fuck up at some point, even for the Empire, is it really Star Wars?
The thing here is that if you watch the show, if you base it off of the movies, the Empire stuff always works. It's like everybody's stuff always works. The only thing that breaks down is the Falcon.
I guess you're right.
Yeah,
the Falcon's the only thing that breaks down. Everybody else's things are always operational, always working, even though you're pretty sure somebody is getting out a rattle can and spray painting over the rust on the Y-wing. I mean, that landing doesn't look good. Fuck it, it'll make it to the next mission. And as it trundles itself into the air, and you're like, "Are you gonna tell anyone? It ain't coming back, so I ain't working on it." It looks like that kind of vehicle, but it's rugged, supposedly. It's a rattle trap, and I understand why it looks so terrible during the rebellion, but I didn't like how the Y-wing of the sequel series was as rattle trap as the original trilogy movies. Like, wouldn't you have time to, I don't know, put the armor back on?
they did look like they were like had some stuff lifted off, didn't they?
Oh yeah,
Didn't look nearly as resilient.
yeah, because the Clone Wars era Y-wing is this elegant-looking armored box of death, and it's cool.
Mhm.
And you understand that, okay, with time to lighten the load, speed it up, we just tear the armor plate off. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure if we took an F-16 and like just tore all the body panels off of it and said, well, it's got enough thrust to get in the air, so it's doing, you know, the F-105 Starfighter. Sorry, it's pulling off a Starfighter. It's like, it doesn't need wings. It's got engines. I mean, yeah, it'll get in the air. It'll look like shit, but it'll get in the air. And you're like, okay, cool. But you would think that, and the thing is, the lore written for the Y-wing of the sequel trilogy these aren't originals. These are the next generation Y-wings that are supposedly were built to honor the originals that had won the Civil War. So they left them completely unarmored, rattle trap pieces of crap. I mean, what? Couldn't you have just put the armor back on and made it, you know, survive more? No? Okay. Hey guys, I know that you guys are going into battle, and these are the best bombers we've got that aren't a flying refrigerator that trundles around at the speed of slow. We left on the Vietnam era paint job and the lack of parts that your grandfather just didn't put back on. This is brand new. No. We built it identical to the shit your grandpa flew. I don't want to fly it. Tough shit. Get in.
Are you familiar with habitual line crosser?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I'm familiar with this stuff.
All right, because I'm waiting for his drop for the day, but there's so much shit that's been happening, and that's really not a good thing. Like, our life shouldn't be this exciting, but
No.
our life is this exciting right now.
No, it shouldn't be, but it is.
Is it trash day yet?
I'm waiting for trash day.
Yes.
I've been giving him shit, and the motherfucker went drinking today. And I've been on his Twitter like 5 or 6 times, like, dude, stop drinking. Go make a skit. Or go do a live show. I'll show up. And just I'll throw you $50. Just fucking start the camera. If you're gonna be drinking like an asshole, go ahead and then start doing buff impersonations, and I'll be happy. The world will be good again. Goddamn kids, you're fucking up again. You know, I fucking love Buff. For those of you who don't know who Habitual Line Crosser is, he's a very talented YouTuber who does a bunch of skits, usually one a day, where all the military death machines get together and they have a palaver, and it's a big fun conversation. Buff is the old grandpa.
Yep.
Just good stuff. If you have a box, you get a little
Entertaining on geopolitics.
Yeah, good geopolitics
Great.
stuff. Fucking the great China. You mean West Taiwan? Don't call me that.
Now the Buff is like, I love when Buff shows up because that's just always just like,
Here comes common sense.
He says what we think.
Fucking
Now-
fat electrician dropped the granddaddy of fucking Green Berets,
Billy Wah.
Billy Wah, on
that video
Thursday.
is great.
Almost an hour, or maybe a little bit more than an hour, but he was just going on about this. That guy was 5 decades in the service.
Look,
Yeah,
when
died
Grandpa
at the
was
age
kicking
of
your
what?
ass, he was gonna kick
93?
your ass.
Say again, guys. You stepped on each other.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say 5 decades of grandpa kicking your ass. He's gonna kick your ass. That's what it comes down to. 1/100th of what he did.
This guy lived to be his late 90s. He was 93, 96, something like that. It was some ridiculous age. He was in Afghanistan in
Yeah. I thought he
Not
was
to mention
he actually
all-
served till he was 80.
40 years earlier.
I like how he went over there, realized it wasn't the shit that he wanted to do, then left, then came back. That right there is what everyone should be like aspiring for when they're playing a role playing game. This is who you should be. Ah shit! I broke my foot.
CIA.
Yes.
With the rubber mask. I can picture that. I can totally picture that. It probably cost us like $200,000 US for the idea and another just to get the fucking laser mask on his head. And he's like, fuck this shit. And he goes all pole position with the CIA, and the dude pukes in his mask.
Don't break character. Mask stays on. Oh shit. No, I just like the whole thing where he just broke his ankle, shot himself with 3 shots of morphine, and then went, "Well, I'm fucked."
Crafting, do you know who
Like,
he's talking
Snake
about?
was an actual person. That would be him.
Yes.
Sorry, what, Bruce?
Crafting Gamer, are you familiar with this guy, Billy Waugh?
I don't think so.
Okay. I'll get you the video here, and I'll drop it in your...
It's worth the hour.
It's crazy.
This guy is a top tier operator.
I noticed Bruce is painting the tormentor of characters. That's what I like to call it anyway.
When this thing enters the battlefield, there will be crying and gnashing of teeth. That's all there is to it. I don't know what I did with my PC, but I've got up in the corner of my screen my GPU service, my CPU percentage used, my frames per second. I don't know why. Like, what toggle did I hit? I'm usually really good about not hitting toggles I'm not familiar with, but something happened, and I've got my fucking game vision on right now. It's like, I don't know why I need that.
It's a cry for help.
It's
Help, computer! Stop all the downloads.
I might do that, actually. I have been downloading the Unreal series back on my PC, getting ready to go through my 2025 playthrough of Unreal Tournament 2004, and then Unreal fucking 3, because I do that yearly. I'm bored. Not a lot of people want to do that. I get it. Bruce enjoys stupid games like that.
Unreal Tournament is a good game.
It was a technician's game. It's not a game for twitchy people, but it's a game for thinking shooters. I always found the players that played Unreal Tournament to be better caliber of player and more team focused than the Quake 3 players. Nothing against Quake 3, but it makes for one type of gamer, and I don't want to be on that guy's team.
Way too much Unreal Tournament. I have played way too much of that game.
If my Steam was accurate with what I have done on Unreal, I'd say I probably spent over 3,000 hours playing Unreal. I really don't feel proud about that. I enjoyed it, every moment of it. The main reason why I felt like it was so good was the fact that you could download maps and mods, and it was just this open sandbox. You could do whatever you wanted with the game.
Yep.
That was why I fell in love with that, and that's why I still play Quake. I can't get away from that. That just the fact that somebody's like, "Oh, here's a game from such and such year, but I'm going to make it relevant right now." That's to me, that's perfect.
And now we got freaking microtransactions, and God knows who else don't belong in a war game.
Wait, what war game has Nicki Minaj as a downloadable, purchasable item?
Freaking Fortnite, Minecraft with guns.
You know, I played it about 3 weeks ago, and I uninstalled it.
On Call of Duty, like whatever the last Call of people are hurting for ideas, and it's like, all right, get back to the old school, like original Team Fortress.
Well, yeah, it's a couple of years old now, but excellent example of that is a game I've been meaning to check out. Probably I don't play much of the Quake or Doom style games, but there's a game called Bolt Gun.
Good
It's
game.
it's pretty much Quake just for
The
40K.
Emperor Protects.
They hit a home run with that game. It's a beautiful game.
You play when you play that, let me know. I want to watch you play it if you can.
I'll see. I know there's a way I can get the data from my Xbox to my computer and be able to stream through it that way. But I have not been able to find a way to stream directly from my Xbox to YouTube.
I'll look into it. I'll send you if I find any answers. I'll send you the information.
Okay.
I lost my train of thought. Been playing the same Twitch overhead shooter for the past like 4 years called Synthetic, where these robots are walking around this tower, and as you go up, it gets harder and harder. So I've never beaten it, which is great. It has been beaten by people, like maybe less than 1% of the people that own the game, but it's pretty cool. It has a very good cyberpunk feel to it, good cyberpunk music. But it's just a nice,
Like Magic Sword with robots.
yeah, like kind of like Magic Sword or Wizard of Legend, and it does does do 2-player, but it's rough, and it's not an easy game by any means. But I've been playing through that. I probably put 30 hours on that game in the last week and a half, and one run for me, I might get like 6 or 10 levels in. I die. There's like 30 some odd levels, it feels like, from the way that the levels are stacked on the tower, because every once in a while you get a cutaway where it shows you where you're at and where the top is. But the backstory to Synthetic is pretty cool because it goes with the alternate storyline of Japan and Germany won the war, and they invested heavily into AI to keep North America running good, but the AI ran off, and so the Germans and the Japanese tried to shut down everything, and they tried limiting the processors to 1% of their capacity, and so the AI banded together and used whatever dial-up service they had to get all online all at once and take over. And now everything's ran out of this one centralized tower from where their data pretty much spreads and infects everything. And the humans find a broken android, and this guy that's a veteran gets shot at pretty bad, kind of like RoboCop. So they install him in the piece, and that's where you come in. You're the poor piece of shit that gets to walk up the tower and try to kill all the robots and all the war machines, trying to get your way to the top. It's a pretty fun game, but don't expect it to be a walk in the park. It'll break your dick. think you're doing good. You think you got some good weapons.
Nope.
Round the corner. Oh, fuck, it's a Harrier.
Just wait till China
No,
releases
a real Harrier.
F-35 VTOL knockoff.
Yeah. It's a wonderful game, but it just I start playing it and I start feeling jazzed to get around level 8, level 9. I'm like, man, I think I can do it this time. No, I don't. I'm dead within 45 seconds. And it's one of those games I happily go back to. I've tried to play it once a day. It's taken over my Quake slot in my time frame.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I might play Quake for about maybe an hour every 2 days, every 3 days, because there's new mods coming out for it. If you go to slipseer.com, they show you all the new stuff. They show you all the stuff that did not hit real big on the ratings, but there's like 20 or 30 single player maps that come out every week for Quake still. Game's almost 30 years old, 20 or 30 new maps. Just keep that in mind. The game is still fucking fresh for people.
People still make mods for Fallout New Vegas.
Fallout New Vegas was made in 99 or 2003.
Yeah. I know it's not as old, I'm just saying.
I know. I'm not trying to kick it. Everybody loves Fallout New Vegas. I've not heard anybody complain about Fallout New Vegas.
Well, here's the thing. I don't care what anybody says. Fallout New Vegas is the people from the original series of Fallout going, this is how you make a fucking RPG.
Okay, with you saying
Was
that,
it,
have you
Black
played
Mesa?
part 1 and 2? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Six Nations.
Oh no, I didn't mean it.
I was just
Sorry.
saying.
Go ahead.
I was just saying that wasn't Black Mesa? Or am I?
Black Mesa's the
I think I'm confusing.
remake of Half-Life 1.
That was the. Yeah.
I wish I didn't know that off the top of my head.
Oh, and Bruce, the middle finger wasn't being aimed at the original makers. The finger was being flipped at Bethesda by the original makers, because the makers of the original first two games made Fallout New Vegas.
Okay. I didn't know if you've played those two yet.
Not yet. I tried. I got really frustrated. The very first rat, I used my entire fucking clip.
I'm in for a story.
All of my ammo. I did not hit the fucker once. It killed me. The first rat. I got so frustrated I have not tried since.
Well, Obsidian. That's what I'm thinking of. Shit.
Obsidian, yes.
I'm sorry, man. That warms the cackles of my fucking old, cold, dead heart, because you weren't shit until you played Fallout and you were on your 7th character and you finally made it out of the first vault. You made it out into the open.
Running out of points.
You weren't shit until you had like your 3rd or 4th character that you tried. And like some of us were really stubborn. We're like, oh, let's try this other character. Maybe it'd be good for RP. And it wasn't a combat monster. No. For you to play Fallout right, you had to build a combat monster, and then you had a chance to go and properly slay and get through that first fucking miserable set of vaults and hallways and locker rooms. And then you might see sunlight at the end of that, but you probably won't because you'll die. And that was a properly made game. God bless them.
Yes.
It's like old school role playing was a reality.
You know,
I'm gonna go out for an adventure. Magic missile, first combat, come around the corner. There's no way to stop it.
What?
No. I forgot which Neverwinter Nights it was, or was it? It was either I think it was one of the old isometric ones, early early 3.0 era game. And
Are you sure it was 3.0 and not the original Pool of Radiance? Because I had to create 3 separate
Pool of
parties.
Radiance, I remember it being that.
no. The thing is that it was one of the isometrics. It was right when they transitioned from 2 to 3 third edition computer games. I think it was one of the Icewind Dale games, but one of the first fights was legitimately you're in a town, you go around a corner, it's an ambush. One of the people who ambushes you is a mage, and they cast magic missile first action. The problem here is that if you're not playing a fighter, that magic missile auto fucking kills you if you're playing a rogue or any caster class.
You're talking about Baldur's Gate.
Yes.
The original Baldur's Gate. The guy's walking down the stairs, and he hits the fucking Zot, and you're either if you're a mage, you're dead.
Yeah.
If the only way you can beat that fucker as a mage is the moment you see his sprite making its way down the fucking stairs, pause it, spacebar, force attack, cast whatever you got, or use your weapon and pray you roll that 20 because you're not going to roll that 20. And he hits you with magic missile. If you suck on initiative, you suck on initiative. But it's a joy to finally figure that out.
Yep.
Good luck, kids.
That game, that one just makes me laugh because it's just one of those. I'm gonna play a wizard. No, you're not.
No, you're not. You're gonna play a paladin. You're gonna play a fighter. You're gonna play a ranger.
Because that first character, first fight is going to kill you.
Yeah. And that's exactly how that works. He fucking kills you. There's no way around it. You're going to die right there to a wizard on the steps of Baldur's Gate. Not even Baldur's Gate. You're in Candlekeep.
Yeah.
And he just fucking casts his spell, and then the next thing he does like shocking grasp. So hits you with a good old 1-2. He's like a first or second level wizard, and he's got you dead to rights.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's all there is to it. Don't ever play Baldur's Gate 1 as a wizard and expect to live. I mean, you can play it. You can play it all you want. You're going to be playing it for a long time, beating your head against this giant brick wall. Good luck.
Either that, or you're going to dump your highest stat into con just so you can take that first hit.
Yeah, there's a chance because he might roll a 2 altogether for magic missile damage.
Yeah, and with your mighty toughness mage,
you don't have Imoen at that point, so you better hope you win initiative on the second round.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I've actually the game I'm playing with Bruce. I've actually I could have maxed out my intelligence to get way more mana, but I've seen Bruce's high level games. Unlike Connell, who wants to just chew Bruce's head off for going for his bow, it's like I'm just going to do the smart thing, and I'm going to build a tough wizard. His constitution is actually higher than his intelligence.
That's for my tabletop. I
cross between a shaman and monk.
I'm kind of worried about
and
it.
a Taoist master.
Okay, I got to ask. In this current rule set that I got, does it feel like it's too give and take? Does it feel like it's too swingy, or does it feel like it really rewards players that attempt to think about their character and plan ahead? Because
I feel it favors the character that plans ahead. Because, like excellent example, what I was trying to do, unfortunately, I got cut out before I could. What I wanted to do is when we first got to that big room where we fought the Minotaur, was actually go through and have all the characters do our buff spells. That fight would have gone so much easier if we had our buffs on.
Mm-hmm.
So I think in the end we kind of lucked out on that one, but that doesn't feel swingy. once again, that feels like I said, if we had just been a little bit more prepared.
Well, what happened was
Other than Tomas.
Yeah.
what happened was I started doing character sheets for the players that haven't like talked to me recently, and I got to get Nerdy Ogres done because he just sent me his earlier today. Right as we're getting ready to start running game, he sends me his barbarian, so I'm like, I can't really get him up to 6th level yet, but I'll get him his options for his rage powers and his feats in the next day or two.
Yeah.
But I got his girlfriend statted up, and I got Roberto statted up, and I started working on Tomas. Tomas has Roberto has like 54 hit points at 5th level. His brother Tomas has like 42. I could not roll hit points today worth of shit. And keep in mind, your hit points are your starting con. That's your hit points. And then 1st level, you roll, and you keep rolling, 2nd level, 3rd level, 4th level, 5th level. Add your COD modifier. So you should have a good chunk of hit points. You really should. Right now, he's got statistically the same amount of hit points that a 1st edition AD&D guy would have at 5th level, which is really bad because the hit points are not abundant in 1st and 2nd edition at all.
Like that. Bruce says 42 is a low number. As a wizard, I feel glad to have 49.
Yeah, that's kind of how the game is starting to angle. Like it's a game. You have a high number of hit points. Yes, you do. We also have exploding damage die.
That is true.
Makes me think of those freaking everybody's like buff versions of whatever the subject is.
Yeah. Well, I'm just glad that Bruce doesn't have. Well, Bruce hasn't called it anyway for what's it called when System Shock. Because let's see here. Yeah, I would have had to make a System Shock roll if Bruce had called for it.
If you take 50 points of damage from a singular source, I will call for a fortitude check of 50. Keep in mind that's on a D percentile, not a D20.
Yeah.
You have a good chance of rolling it. Also, I know a lot of my friends can't roll worth a shit, but that happens. I don't know. I think it's pretty fair. I lower because the original 3rd edition was 50 points of damage from a single source, and you have to roll a fortitude 15, which is basically a 75 in my system. And I dropped that down because I don't feel like the death from sudden shock really happens so much in real life and affects so many people, because there's a lot of people that they get hurt bad and they get right up and they go back at it. Like, guys take good hits in football, people get in car wrecks and get out and they're like, I'm bruised, but I'm okay. And they're kind of wobbly. They're got the adrenaline going, but they stagger off, and then they sit down maybe a little later and they find out just how bad they're fucked up. But they didn't die right away. It's very rare for a person to suffer a heart attack that's not caused by an electrical shock, like blunt trauma damage or like sudden loss of blood, that doesn't cause as much damage or cut the sudden death like 3rd edition D&D would make you think it would.
Yeah. I'll have to describe it a little bit better. It just says you suffer the effects of coma, but my system shock in my game works slightly different. You actually you do basically become incapacitated, almost knocked out from it if you take in this case half your health in a single blow. But
that's reasonable.
Yeah. But what was I going to say? There was something else to it too. What I was going to do for. Oh yeah. Crap! My brain just froze.
All right. Hey Blaine.
Yeah.
Does this kind of give you an idea of like this is an advanced version or more primitive version of an illithid.
Yes, I like it.
I love these. I ordered about 10 of them from Reaper because I thought these are fucking scary. And
Oh yeah.
I love fear.
Well, you see that thing right there, Bruce?
This one,
Yeah, my character sees that. I'm saying this literally. There is a 45% chance. So if I roll 45 or lower, he will run away.
I would be proud of you if you did. You value your life. I like that.
Well, that's also worm-like. He now officially has worm phobia thanks to the first demon.
Yeah, that was a little disconcerting.
I got to go outside and grab my dragon wing, and then I'll go piece that onto the Tiamat. I'll be right back.
Like actually today during the battle, one of the monsters burst into what were they called? We were fighting some sort of demon. One of them burst into worms, maggots. Thankfully, I was at a distance, but I said my character has a 20% chance of running away. I rolled a 21. Like he almost ran away, and that roll was just before the Minotaur showed up.
Hit.
So luckily, I managed to hit the Minotaur for 2 decent amounts of damage. So we managed to kill it with only losing 1 member. No player. It was a NPC. Resurrection. Well, I think part of the reason why Resurrection was so cheap is because we helped save the town.
Right.
So we were able to bring him back. Luckily.
Yeah, I was thinking about that about resurrection. Like, yeah, there's no you can be healed, but it'd be interesting to see the magic. Not, Tomas gets resurrected with a big.
Well, I do know depending on the game. Yeah, sorry. What I was saying is I do know depending on the game, unless the person wants to be resurrected, they don't.
Oh yeah, could you imagine going to heaven or something like that and then getting yoinked back? You're like, what the fuck? I made it to Valhalla. I was about to get my beer.
Yeah.
What the hell am I doing to this? Oh, the pain.
You guys waited 4 days to call me back. I was already 3 orgies and a buffet into my day. What the fuck were you thinking about calling me back? We beat you? Think about your friends? I was not thinking about you at all. But I don't. If I remember correctly, you guys left me to die in a horrible burning fire. I'm going back. Excuse me. Well, you can't go back. You're alive. That can be fixed.
Well, you can't just commit suicide. I don't have to.
That's something that's kind of curious. Like, I would love to see a story of someone who was brought back who really was enjoying the afterlife. Like, they get really pissed at modern tech or magic or science or whatever it is, whatever the foul thing was that forced them to come back across a mortal coil onto this miserable planet. I would love to see a story where that happened and somebody gets pissed. I think that would be entertaining. I think that would be.
Imagine it.
What?
A hero is valiantly in battle, goes to the afterlife. He's living it up for however long it is, gets resurrected back. Then he's a bitter, empty prick, and he wants to die. So he's always charging into battle. For some reason, he's killing the monster or thwarting the danger, and he can't die. And it just makes him more bitter off.
There's probably an anime for that.
It'd be an
I
interesting.
played that character. I've done that campaign. Where specifically okay, I don't want to say I played it. I ran that in that game since it was my campaign world, and a lot of the NPCs are former characters I've played or characters that other people have played. One of my players got this brilliant idea of things were going so bad that they're like, if only we could get a hero of legend back. And so they went dumpster diving, found enough, some artifacts that that were tied to the original character. They read the rules and said, we only need a certain percentage of the original body to bring them back. And yeah, so they went through the entire process and then resurrected a legendary character. And the character is like, and they're like, yay, you're here. Here's all your armor and your weapons and your gear. And they were like, what? I've been in the afterlife for legitimately centuries. What the hell are you thinking? Well, it's a big bad thing. Yeah, I fought my big bad thing. This is your big bad thing to fight.
I would enjoy that campaign as a bystander. Like I try not to watch a lot of other D&D related content, but I will watch a live stream because it doesn't matter what game system you're playing. It just matters if you can run a game. And I'm finding out that I don't like watching other live streams. It's not that I don't enjoy the banter or the talk or the camaraderie. It's just that, like, I thought my groups don't focus on the game enough. But there's two varieties of groups out there. Either one is so focused on game, they are without a personality and they're just running through this railroad to act like drama kids at Magic Time Machine restaurant or whatever dinner theater you go to. That's what you have. Or they're the second type of gaming group where it's authentic gaming, where people side talk about things in real life or politics gets brought up or anything else gets brought up. But Bruce is a focused man. I've lived a couple decades and I don't like topics of conversation about these certain things with these perspectives. And there's a lot of that. And they don't even worry about the game for 50 minutes. And it's like I love Janet to pieces. But imagine Janet if she was politically flipped and there were seven of them around the table. And let's drop the IQ by 3/4. So it's like watching The View with dice. So I've told YouTube don't recommend me to like about 5 different channels since Thursday. I'm sorry.
No, that's about right.
And I don't even find my own live streams that enlightening. I don't find us to be that quote unquote that great. We're okay. Like both of my groups, like they're really good for what they do. And there's a campaign in there. If you hang out for 10 minutes and they're not going back to the game, there's a real issue at hand, like the day that Trump got shot and I couldn't get my fucking party to focus on the game because Trump just got shot. God damn it, you deep state motherfuckers. You know, I mean, I was genuinely pissed they chose that Saturday to take the fucking retarded kid on the roof and let him shoot at Trump. I've never been more pissed at our government ever.
Get it orchestrated and shit. And then you have something massive like a political assassination attempt.
Like, I get it. That is an important thing in the real world. Like, I understand that. But I'm trying to run my game. And this internet thing is getting in the way because of its real life bullshit. I can't get my players to focus on the game. Instead, they want to talk about the future president and the fucking hole in his ear. God damn it. I'm so happy the deep state law.
We were like sitting in the woods for a weekend or whatever, and we came back and heard about
I hate camping, but you romanticize it like that, and I'm going to buy a fucking $700 worth of camping gear. We're going to gather in the woods. Fuck this shit where the internet could ruin my game.
And the first person who gets seen with a cell phone gets tasered.
I got
I'm
fucking.
tasered because that's where all my rule books are at.
Oh, shit.
The cell phone's not horrible. It's just the fact that somebody was
You're on TikTok or Facebook. There will be repercussions.
somebody's checking out Twitter while we're playing.
You're checking out the details.
Oh, okay, that one I understand. No, I'm just
acceptable.
more going. All my character sheets and rulebooks are on my phone because I my back hurts. I don't want to pack a full A-frame full of my rule books. Thank you.
I have duffel bags full of not just worth, but literally duffel bags full of character sheets and other things.
See,
And
when I was younger, I used to have that full gym, that monster gym bag that was just riffs, and I would carry that shit everywhere. I had another bag that was pre-packed with
You're
all my
try-hard.
D&D shit.
Blaine,
Those
you're
things are long
try-harding.
gone.
You unless you had a sea bag full
Yeah,
where the fucking buckle was having a hard time clipping, don't talk
Yeah.
to me. Don't talk, because I had a sea bag full of. I had one sea bag of riffs. I had one sea bag full of D&D shit.
I've had those bags, but I understand.
That just reminded me of high school.
I don't want to go back to that.
Me with my books, and then my buddy Juan. So he was carrying like full-size hard drives, fucking 5-inch floppies, all this shit because he would dumpster dive for old and build computers in his off time, and he would be sitting in a study class or something like that, and we games or computer games, and then I'd see his backpack, and that thing is just like, it might as well be like a large size military rucksack, just full of computer components. And here I am with my freaking JanSport, busting at the seams with my books and the 200 character sheets that I printed at the college printer for like 10 cents a copy. Yeah, good times.
You know, the funniest part about me having duffel bags worth of character and Palladium stuff, I based all of that information off of one book, the Rift's conversion book.
That's not a bad book. That's actually a fun book.
Yeah, but yeah, it's like for about 10 years, that's the only book I had for all my GMing purposes.
Well, it works.
Yeah. I mean, I had access to the other books, but that was because it was my only physical book. That's pretty much the only one I used. I have actually like all the way up to the Rifter 30 in PDF, thanks to a buddy of mine.
Yeah. Not sure I want to go back to those days. I really don't.
I'm very selective on what books I use. I'm even back when I was GMing heavily. Like I said, I did mostly that one book, but every once in a while I would basically pull a Connell, like, all right, you're allowed to bring one book from the series, but that I wasn't really able to do that very often because most people I introduced the game to, most of them didn't know what Palladium was.
That book that I had, the Compendium on Firearms, Valsorian game book, had conversions for like D&D, Call of Cthulhu, you name it. Get to use that, and I wanted to, like, standing out stuff. Made piles of shit. And then older, little trap keeper, sat on my desk.
Whew.
And we got all this fancy technology.
Okay. What book was that?
So
Oh yeah, that book. Okay, the infamous combat book.
Yes.
Who didn't want to run being a wizard with a freaking 44 Magnum Desert Eagle or
Well, the thing here is that when you got
or
friends who are gun bunnies, like legit, like that, their hobby is. So what'd you do this week? And they're like, I glass bedded a rifle. All right. And what else did you do? And they're like, took it to the range and shot it, got it zeroed in, and made ammunition for it. All right. So what are you gonna play? And suddenly they're like, and they look at you and like, there's not enough guns in this book. There's enough guns. See, you got you got a holdout pistol, a light pistol, a heavy pistol, and at which point, you could just feel the daggers being shot across the room at you. And they're like, "That's not. No, I refuse. This is garbage." And then they start getting really, really technical. And then suddenly you're now getting really technical, and you're like going, "Okay, let's start." So you pull out a book that's got a lot of guns in it, and then you pull out a different book, but those books are in a rule set that's not your rule set. So you find a conversion set, a conversion book that brings those weapons into a rule set that does have. So you're looking for, okay, so does this gun equal this? Well, it's a 45. Okay, so we'll just do this and this, convert through this, and suddenly you're now like 5 books open, so that way you can give your gun bunny player the right weapon that he wants. Because it has to be a specific weapon with the right modifications. And you're like, just take a fucking pistol. No, take a fucking pistol. I refuse.
meanwhile,
Because he is.
the dude next to him's like taking a polymer one shot and like totally happy with it.
Yeah.
Blade and a polymer one shot, I'm good to go.
Yeah, he's like fucking set. Meanwhile, the gear queer over here is fucking like no. I need recoil. It needs recoil compensation, flash hider. It needs a red dot sight. Like, dear fucking god, stop buying more shit for your gun. I need more gun. Like, all right, your gun's done. Are you okay? That's my sidearm. I need my standard rifle now. Fuck. Just take standard assault rifle. It has stats. It has the word assault rifle. You're fine. He goes, what round is it chambered in? It don't fucking matter. It's assault rifle.
No, you do not understand, brother. My weapon is my life.
Obviously. It needs more purity seal. Got it. But after you play with genuine gun sexuals, you're fucking set. Like, no, like, there's a reason why I have conversion rules now from everything from like primitive black powder wheel lock matchlock guns all the way up to it shoots black holes. Okay, like it's using a high powered pulse laser and it cuts through buildings. Oh, okay. And then we get to the modern age and it's like, what guns is like, because the same, like a different gear clear, that same group who's like, I will only use FUD guns. Oh fuck. So I have the gear queer, I have the ammo sexual, and then I have Elmer FUD. It won 2 world wars, so he must use it.
Listen,
And I'm like,
I'm okay with the 12 gauge, with the original street sweeper and the 1911 being used together. I think that is a badass combo.
oh,
That's a good kit.
the best part was one day when I was listening to these three fucks talking about guns and picking out which guns they wanted to have for the game we were about to play. No, because we were young and still hanging out at people's parents' house, dad of the Gear Queer shows up. Now, dad of the Gear Queer was Vietnam light infantry, and he's like, no, don't pick those guns. Here's the guns I would take. And I'm like, sir, are you going to actually sit down and play with us? And he's like, no, but I'm going to tell you what guns I'm taking. All right, Sergeant, sit down. I sit down at this table and start reading us out the manual of arms, please. Boom. And he starts going into, no, you don't want that. Like, are you going to go do anything stupid? Here, this is the look. When you're going to get shot at, here, use this. And we're like, okay, we'll modernize it. Use this instead. And we're like, are you sure? He goes, I've got one in the closet. And we're like, all right. Obviously, you actually got one. It's sitting. Okay. And he's like, you actually want to hold it and play? It's like, just get a good feel for it. Okay. As it's fun at that point, like the role playing game goes way to a whole new level when combat dad shows up and goes, okay, like this shotgun's meant for clearing rooms, and then he's like, pulls it out and it's like unloading the rounds out of the chamber because because it's his personal defense shotgun, and I'm like, do you sleep with a pistol? Yes. Okay. Obviously, you still have some trauma, sir, that you're dealing with.
Seems like a pretty good guy.
He's a great guy. And
that guy I want to have on my sticks in my team.
Yeah, it's a great guy. But after that day, I understand where his son came from. And it was also a nice day of just going and he's listening to people talk and he's like, no, you can't carry that much shit. Now this is how much ammo you can carry. Are you sure? Trust me, I know.
Are you playing Twilight 2000?
We were at the time getting ready to play a nice game of World of Darkness. And then he's taking World of Darkness Twilight 2000 edition. And trust me, when he saw my Twilight 2000 stack, he's like, "Let me read those." He goes, "Fun game." It's like a fun game. I'm like, "You want to play a game?" No. Why? He's like, "I served in the 70s and 80s. I don't want to fucking play. I don't want to role play that." So he was always fun because that dad was always cool because he was always in the next room listening to what was happening. And he would make comments and laugh about it afterwards. But then again, he also says that his only superpower he had was knowing when to duck. That was
that's a valuable superpower to have, sir.
Yeah. It's like when he's listening to everyone trying to be heroic, he goes, "Oh no, I was fucking coward. I knew when to hide behind a wall. I knew when to hide. I hide in a ditch, and I knew how to aim. Those are my 3 skills." And I'm like, "All right, that's fantastic. Thank you for your after action for your review of how screwed up what we did wrong." And that was always fun, was listening to him give us our what you did wrong report. But he would never interrupt us. He never interrupts the game, and while we were fucking up, he would just comment afterwards about being fuck ups. I miss that. I miss that house.
Oh, I would. That would be an awesome house to. The amount of brain picking I would do as GM.
That was 4 years of having access to an indispensable amount of knowledge, like just access to people just willing to talk to you about stupid shit. About you're doing it wrong, do it right. But putting it in a more interesting fashion. And I loved it. And it was a good time period to learn a lot about how fucked up the Army is.
Oh God. It's one thing to have a military member at the table, but it's another thing to have just the time for them to explain where chain of command broke down, where logistics would fall apart, where equipment was pushed beyond its means of being reliable. And when you have somebody that can relate to you in triplicate those items, and they just explain to you the months that went by as things like the McCandless. It was, I don't know how that ship stayed afloat. We had holes in the hull. We had welders. We had skilled welders that were always putting metal into the bilges where the holes were and doing their job as hull technicians, because that's what you're supposed to do. But then we had to give that ship to the Turkish because we agreed the Turkish get this ship. And I don't know how the Turkish, we would maintain things pretty okay.
Yeah.
We do, our preventive maintenance systems are good. They're regular, they're consistent. If not, ships go in the drink.
Yep.
The Turkish told us within 2 years the McCandless would be at the bottom of the Black Sea. The fact it made it across the Atlantic is just another miracle that happened on its way. But that ship made it to being scrapped, and that was something I clapped about because I didn't think it'd make it into the late 90s or 2000s. I thought it would be gone. But the Turkish managed to take notes from us and figure out how to actually keep things afloat. Even though they assured us that no matter what, they were going to intentionally break the ship. They were going to make sure it never sailed.
Yeah. And it's like listening to this guy talk about shit, like how he went from infantry after Vietnam, goes over and becomes a logistics officer for an armored unit, and then ending up at a depot and seeing how bad shit's there. Because this is the late 70s, early 80s, when nothing works yet. You know, everything's just gone to everyone's depressed, no one's doing anything right, and things have fallen apart. And he's actually mailing he is putting tank transmissions in the back of trucks, driving to the post office and mailing transmissions to other bases because nobody had parts to keep shit running. And he had the parts, but they weren't in the database. He went to his commander said, "Hey, I've been talking to other bases. They need these. We've got them. They're not in our inventory." And the commander's like, "It's not my inventory. I don't give a shit." And then he's like, "What? It's not my inventory." "Well, we could put it in the inventory and then ship it out through the system." And he's like, "I don't fucking care." And so he literally just like, "Well, they're not here." And so he just called up his counterpart, and then just for like 3 weeks just drove trucks to the post office, unloaded tank transmissions to the post office, and said, "Deliver it to this base. Deliver this to this base." And he did this one day, one transmission a day, every day, and mailed out like 24 transmissions, just so that way we get tanks running again. Because he just had them, and the commander didn't give a fuck because they weren't in the inventory. He was going through the boxes of shit that was just crates just thrown out, and he's finding like M2 machine guns in crates just being thrown out, and people are just, you know, this is the era of, you want surplus, you want ammo boxes? Fuck yeah, we got crates everywhere. And he's like, no, get an actual count of our shit. I'm finding weapons in these crates. Why are you not? And the commander's just like, they're not in the inventory. He's like, fuck, they aren't. And this was shit he was running into, and as soon as he was able to get once his contract was out, he was like, I'm done. I'm out of this shit now. And that's when he left, because he was tired of finding that much garbage. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then and he's explaining it all in detail, like, no parts, not going into super detail, but like he's explaining this day-to-day bullshit he had to do. And I'm like, okay. And so I'm like taking notes on this shit, because this is a view you don't see a lot. And suddenly I'm able to like take that story and stories like that and compare it to other people's stories elsewhere, like your story about your ship, and then like Wallace's stories about his sub, and then other people talking about their units, and then putting together this bigger image. And now that we're in the modern day, I can get people who are like the Fat Electrician or other people like that who are telling their stories, and something. It's all comes together into this big, oh shit, this is the kind of shit that does happen. And like now I can take those little elements and kind of weave them into, well, now there's a believable core. So when I'm running I hate to say it, because we talk about role-playing games a lot, and so when I'm playing a role-playing game, I can make the fuck-ups that happen, the complications that happen, feel a bit more authentic, because, well, there's a core of, yeah, somebody stupid does something wrong, and this is what's happening. Yeah, this boat's got four generators. 3 of them are broken. Well, where's the 4? Why don't they get them fixed? Because there's just not enough of them, and they only make 3 of them a year, and we got 12 of them we need, and it only needs 1 to work, and we keep on working. That was a story I heard from somebody who's on an Oliver Hazard Perry class ship. And it's like, we got enough. Like, it has way more generators than it needs, because it was meant to go into combat. They always were constantly breaking down. And often they only had 2 to 3 of them. I had 1 to 2 of them working, and I'm like, wait, what? That happens? And like, yeah, shit, okay. And you listen to these kind of stories, and now like, hey, now you got an eternal. Now there's more elements that I can now bring into and going, yeah, no, it's good enough. What do you mean it's good enough? It's good enough. We're not on fire. It's fine. Am I too off base with this?
No. I don't think so.
Okay.
This is good. It's real.
Yeah.
It wasn't my grandfather, but my grandfather knew someone. I mean, the story of someone mailed home a Jeep or something. My grandfather served with somebody who literally mailed home a tank 1 piece at a time.
Nice. Interesting.
Was my grandfather or my great-grandfather? No, it was my grandfather. Both of them served in the military, so I had to think of which one it was.
A lot of us had that.
You, Johnny.
And
1 piece at a
honestly,
time.
that, with the kind of stories you start hearing, I would believe that kind of shit when someone goes, "Nah, that happened." And I'm like, "Yeah, probably did." Or if it didn't, it's probably close enough to actually having work that somebody probably, because the only parts I don't think he probably mailed home was the hull, the turret, and the gun. I don't think those were mailable items.
Well, that could very well be true. All I know is that he mailed the story goes he mailed home a tank, and nobody knows exactly what happened afterwards because, well, they didn't.
How much of the tank came back?
Keep it secret.
I have no idea. The story doesn't talk about the tank coming back.
That's kind of hard to picture. My neighbor on the next block is a professional race car driver, and he's originally from California. And a couple of years ago, we ran into him and had a conversation because we saw his dog out in front. He has a really beautiful German Shepherd, and we got talking with him, and he for a barbecue, and in his garage, it was all ring paraphernalia and M1 Gulf War. It turns out that he was an armorer that repaired those things. And back in the day, like, how would you get an entire tank over? Like, I picture a Sherman, some tiny ass from World War II, but like an M1 Abrams. Like, how the hell would you get that? Customs, continents, and then you're building it in your garage or wherever.
Oh,
Like, holy crap!
But then again, there is that one guy in Germany who had a panther, who had an entire panther in his basement. So,
yeah,
there
I saw the pictures of that. I'm like, good, leave that poor man's basement alone.
I
Fucking
almost
destroy
forgot
his
about
house
this story. My grandfather, he was a what the fuck is the one just below general? Colonel, and he was on a flight with I forgot who, but it was who exactly, but it was a low-ranking general. Apparently, one of the other guys that was flying with the general had never flown before, and threw up right in the general's lap.
that poor guy.
Yeah.
All right, I just saw the time, and I have to be up for flea market in about 4 hours.
Shit. It is that time.
I know.
Like, I didn't realize that. Here I am getting some photos of this because we're in the final stretch. I just have this one part to paint now.
When
So
Khy gets out of bed
fucking happy.
in 4 hours, it's like, it'll be like watching the evolution of man.
In short, yeah, but I mean, it's all worth it. I
Coming
enjoy
together
it.
pretty
So
good, man.
I just realized if I keep telling stories at this point, I'll be up until way later than this. And this is when we usually wrap up. So
This is the kind of thing where, you know, you're sitting at Denny's with your 54th refill,
yep.
polishing off a Grand Slam.
Yeah, if this is Denny's, I'd be like, you know, I finished my plate about 2 hours ago. I think I need seconds, and then trying to get the waitress's attention. Like, we need more, please. I've been at that Denny's on more than one occasion.
Come in for a Monte Cristo, ended up with a few sides.
Yep. Like, you guys are gonna leave? Like, my shift's ending. We'll pay our bill. Just start a new tab for the next shift, okay? And she's like, "Thank you." And then we give her a nice tip because we've been there for 4.5 hours.
Well, I'd like to thank everybody who stopped by tonight, from Headley Lamar to Crafting and Six Nations and Khy. Thank you so much for being here. DJ Play Nice, I know you're probably not here with us right now, but I appreciate you as well. You stop in every stream. For people that are interested in what we do, every other Saturday is a game day, and then every Saturday is a game day, but every other Saturday following the alpha test is a time where I sit back and I talk with Khy, because Khy is a gameology specialist. And I know that sounds kind of weird, or I just make up words and shit, but I'm just saying that Khy's got a lot of knowledge for RPGs. He's been around, he's seen some things. And so it's always good for me to get an after action report with somebody who wasn't at the table. And I always do like pulling players from the table after a while, because if they feel that there's something, or they are trying to get something accomplished with the game, they can throw it at the two of us, me being the GM and the writer, and with Khy just being what I consider a counselor or a consultant in this aspect, we both can be there for it. And appreciate you all being here for this.
I'd like to
doctorate in gameology.
I'd like to end this on to give Khy his credentials for everybody. If Khy were to ever write, and I mean this as a compliment, if he were to ever write a book, it would be over 3,000 pages long, but there would be nothing that book would not cover.
It would have a lot.
Or it would actually be about, or it'd be about 5 pages long, but those 5
137.
pages are all you need.
Fair.
And if you're wanting to watch something, there are live streams that are on right now. I'm not going to disenfranchise any of those creators that have a live stream on right now. Even Connell, if he's still running, but
He should be. Cigars take a while to smoke.
this
Yeah, he's up.
just came out, and this is the soldiers starve. $151 million are stolen from the food funds of the United States military. Yep. The angry cops came out with this fucking video earlier, and this is a banger of a video. You want to talk about like your boys not getting the fucking food they're due? This video talks about it in the realm of Doge and the era of Trump 2.0. I think this is a great video. If you have any military friends or any reservist friends, send them this video and get the word out. Anything from anybody else?
No, that
Well, I was just thinking with that one comment, like, imagine the level of would have if they got their money.
Yep.
I don't want to go. I don't want to even venture on that. I've been to Lackland. Okay, let's get out of here.